Oops. Oh, God, it was so perfect, and then it started to loop itself. Hello, everybody. Let me just double check to see if we're coming through. Hello, hello. Oops. Oh, God, okay. It was so perfect, and then it started to loop itself. I know. Tell me about it, buddy. Everybody. Let me just double check to see if we're coming through. Hello, we're coming through okay. Talking to myself, the story of my goddamn life. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Night Owling. And there are 5 people watching. If you want to say hello in the chat, go ahead. This is the late night show, different from Live Stream of Consciousness. Live Stream of Consciousness is usually the fun time, happy, silly, dumb show, which, true to its title, is just a live stream of whatever crappy nonsense that comes to our heads. And I usually have a lot more guests. But Night Owling is sort of my little Art Bell style late night show where it's usually me and maybe a limited number of guests. We try to be somewhat serious, but it doesn't always work out. Shay Smithers is in the chat, coming in loud and clear, Raph. Hey, Shay Smithers, it's great to see you, buddy. And I'm definitely going to be bringing you aboard on one of my live streams in the very, very near future. Not coming future. Oh, no, that sounded terrible. Oh God, already the show's already gone to hell. So let's bring in our first guest. Unmute yourself, sir. And of course,
hello, people of the internet. How are you all doing today?
Yeah, welcome to our late night show. We're going to be talking about muffins. So everyone enjoys muffins, especially mine. How about yours, Andres?
Oh yeah, I love my muffins. Love them nice and warm, sometimes chocolate chip, sometimes of the banana nut variety. Mm-hmm. What is banana nut anyways, Ralph?
I don't know, but I do know they go great with muffins.
That is indeed true, my friend. Yes. Indeed true.
Right.
I did want to say that I love the choice of music you got for the intro. It's like that's really the kind of music I'd love to hear for a late night like radio show back when those were at the peak of their popularity.
Oh, thank you so much, because I remember listening when I used to hang out with my late friend Mark Tucker. We used to listen to Art Bell and similar like late night radio shows, and it would be always kind of really cool music beats that would open it up. And that was, of course, Masao Yagi. I know I said that right, don't correct me, from the soundtrack of Legend of Dinosaurs. And that particular track, now that I know what the English title is Mystery in the Fog, which of course is true of the movie because it's nothing but fog and a mystery while we're even watching Legend of Dinosaurs. But yeah, tonight's going to be the Kaiju Show, aka I'm just going to talk nothing about Kaiju. Especially some of the more recent stuff I haven't had a chance to do individual videos about. And currently you're taking a break between classes. You're an English teacher in Japan, if I'm allowed to say that.
Yes. I've never made that a secret in my life, Ralph.
I know, but you know, who knows?
I have many secrets though, but but my occupation has never been one of them.
All right, and Brayton Connor, who has wholeheartedly agreed not to show up in tonight's show.
Yes, Brayden, I would love a muffin. You bastard. You lucky bastard, you.
Yeah,
Stop teasing me with the stuff that I cannot access here in Japan.
Yeah, Brayton says, I have a blueberry muffins if you want some. So, yeah. I'm about
what I also miss? Blueberry bagels. Oh I miss bagels in general. They got cream cheese here, but hardly any bagels.
Okay, God, I got vaccinated yesterday.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You know, when I have to, how long I have to wait to get mine?
How?
Until at the very earliest, potentially around August or September, it's that bad here.
Oh my goodness. So,
here's the thing. So can I go on a little rant about this?
Go ahead, just as long as we don't go into a half an hour about it.
Right, sure. I'll keep it short and simple. So they were supposed to give out vaccines to all the medical staff in March, and then all the seniors in April. However, they didn't really start giving out vaccines to the medical staff until like recently, along with the seniors. They're not doing that thing that America did where it's like, we're going to take care of all you guys first, then we're going to take care of all of you guys next, and then we can take care of everyone. Instead, they're trying to do both medical staff and seniors like 2 months late at the same time. And some of my students who happen to work in the medical field, whether as nurses or as pharmacists, they won't be able to get their vaccines at least until anywhere from like mid-May to early June.
That's woolly thinking on their part, that's for sure.
Yeah, so like if you were a medical staff thinking that you were going to get vaccinated in March, only to find out the first of your two vaccines is going to be in the middle of next month, like 2 or 3 months out there, it's like really embarrassing.
Yeah.
And only recently did Prime Minister Suga, when he was recently in America, visiting Biden in America, only then did he decide to give a call to Pfizer saying, hey, can you send a couple more 1,000 vaccines over? That'd be really nice. And everyone in Japan is like, wait, you couldn't have done that before? You had to wait until you were in America to do that?
Yeah, why is it that, why are they going about it that way?
I don't know. You know what? The only thing I can point to... Oh, Brayton, you son of a bitch.
What did he do?
He sent me a picture of both a blueberry muffin and a blueberry bagel.
I'm so glad he's...
You evil genius! You.
I'm so glad he's not on tonight's show. We don't need that kind of evil distraction.
Why don't you stick the knife into my heart a little more, little more by showing me a picture of some frosted mini wheats while you're at it?
Oh, don't worry, buddy. I got you covered. We got you some frosted mini wheats. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Where was I? Oh yeah. So if there's anything I can explanation, I can just simply point to Shin Godzilla and say that's your reason why. It just takes the Japanese government forever to figure out what to do in the middle of a crisis.
No offense to Titano Goji, but a submersion in Japan would be more realistic if they were still having a meeting while the water was up to their neck.
Yes. Yes.
All I can think of is like the destruction of Atlantis from Eric the Viking, but replace the Atlanteans and Terry Jones with Suga and the rest of the Japanese cabinet. So.
Oh man, so yeah, that's pretty much the state of Japan. And guess what? Japan just entered its like 3rd or 4th state of emergency right now in all of its major cities as we get ready to enter Golden Week, which is going to start next Thursday on Showa Day.
Oh no.
Showa Day being the holiday to celebrate, I believe, the birthday of the Showa Emperor.
Why are you on 3rd alert? Is it a natural disaster or just the pandemic?
What do you think, Raph, from the last 12 months?
Baragon is back in town.
Yes, always.
Baragon, here you are.
He sounds like a skinny Japanese woman for some reason.
I wish I had a soundboard so I could just bring up that sound anytime. So unfortunately, the closest thing to a kaiju is this damn little chihuahua that just hopped into my arms. Oh god.
So that's the thing that's really annoyed me in terms of the state of Japan right now, where it's just going through the motion. It's going through a cycle where nothing ever changes. It's just step 1, pandemic spreads, number of cases are rising. Step 2, state of emergency. Step 3, numbers goes down as a result of people having to stay indoors and all businesses closing early.
Mm-hmm.
Then where am I at? Step 3. Step 4, they lift the state of emergency. Everybody goes out. Step 5, numbers rise back up again, and we repeat the whole shebang all over again. And we've done that like 3 times already.
Oh man!
And nothing ever changes. It's madness, I tell you.
Oh my god! Yeah. So I think,
and I swear, if it weren't for like these like how would I say these sort of like hobbies and endeavors, working on stories, comics and books, novels, and just being able to get the chance to sit down and collaborate with people like you or Matt Burkett and Will Kearney, Random DCE, and a whole bunch of other really talented and wonderful individuals that I am thankful to call my friends. You guys are honestly like the guys who are kind of helping me keep my insanity in check.
No, so you're most welcome. And I have no interest in seeing that poorly reviewed Mortal Kombat movie that just came out. But if you want to watch it, we'll make something of it this weekend. So
we'll see.
Yeah. It's like, I know the fans are happy because there's like one or two fatalities and that's about it. So but
apparently the fights are good. It seems to be like another GVK situation where the action's good.
Everything else on the other hand.
And the action's good.
And speaking of GVK, bum bum bum. Oh god, yeah, I really should have more musical cues on hand other than.
You should just get a recording of one of the many times that Matt Burkett has said Mecha Godzilla. Ba 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 ba.
We'll make a Godzilla show up in the Monsterverse. Fly out on this video of Danger Man. I think they have a theory video, but I can't understand through that thick Cockney accent.
I can't understand it with all that chimney speak.
You make a Godzilla, she's the Ultraman.
I'm looking at their videos right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just gonna read the first 3 videos here from the last week alone.
Oh no.
10 interesting facts about Godzilla. Really? Only 10 of them? What was Behemoth doing during Godzilla vs. Kong, parentheses, lore?
No.
He was taking a nap. That's why it happened.
He was at home.
Washing his little tusk.
Yeah.
How Ghidorah returned in Godzilla vs. Kong, parentheses, all caps, creepy lore.
So, in other words, just the brain and the skull. That's not really creepy for kaiju.
How Kong was captured, explain! Godzilla vs. Kong lore!
Oh.
You know, what do you mean how he was captured? He was already on the island.
You know what's
They just put a wall around him.
Yeah, they did a mousetrap bubble on him. Even the
Yeah, 15. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said that prequel comic didn't do a good job explaining what the fuck happened. So,
15 hours ago, how Godzilla defeated Scylla explained. Godzilla vs. Kong lore. He's essentially just reading the fucking new comic that came out and just making videos about it. And
yeah,
I gotta wonder, honestly, like. I get if you're a fan of those random monsters that they showed off at the very end of King of the Monsters, but honestly, who gives a shit about Behemoth and Scylla?
You know what's really sad? I try not to be a bitter individual, but I remember like ever since getting into like the giant monsters and kaiju, I always kind of liked mammalian kaiju, but every time I brought them up, all the Godzilla fans was like, all mammal kaiju suck. And then Behemoth shows up, a character that barely has any screen time. And all of a sudden it's like, is Behemoth the next coming of Jesus? Oi! and it's even...
I think it's, like, Behemoth is my favorite of all the original monsters they've introduced in the Monsterverse.
Uh-huh.
And I guess that's because he's so different. He's not a reptilian monster. He's not an insectoid monster. He does feel like a breath of fresh air. And I guess, yeah, honestly, he is a very well done attempt at a mammalian monster. And perhaps he just struck a chord with certain fans that other mammalian kaiju just simply haven't been able to do before. And I guess that's mainly because pulling off a mammal-like design is pretty hard to do, especially in the heyday of tokusatsu.
Yeah, but it's still so weird. There's been like so many interesting... But then again, Godzilla fans have not really watched Ultraman. They don't bother with the vast majority of them.
Of course not. It's just Godzilla and nothing else.
Yeah, it's like we live in when I was growing up,
they barely even watched Gamera, for God's sake.
Like, how sad was it going to G-Fest before the world ended? And it's like telling people that, you know, we did a Mystery Science Theater fan film with Gamera, and the first question is like, what's Mystery Science Theater? Second question, what's Gamera? It's like,
what's a to do a D pool here? What's a Gamera?
By the way,
for any of you who get that Zanzibar reference, major props to you.
Yeah, but it's Shay Smithers says, "Hey, you guys didn't like GVK, but the action was good."
I didn't hate GVK.
Yeah. Well, let's
I just wasn't enthusiastic about it.
Right. So, we're going to talk about GVK, but we're going to bring in a temporary guest star. Because you and I, we recently watched it together. In fact, I still have the video of our live watch reaction that I'm going to be posting on a Google Docs document. I'll be sharing it with you and maybe other people in the near future.
Are you gonna do a supercuts of all the best moments?
I'll give that to Brayton, see if he wants it or not. But
or you could give it to a certain someone who just entered a chat. Hey, Titan Goji. Hey guys, where can I watch Ultraman? But only the Jiris episode.
Well, first off, fuck off, and secondly, fuck you. You know what's...
Is Godzilla secretly Jiris in the Ultraverse?
Yeah, Titan Goji, it's great to have you here, by the way. But here's a really funny thing I've noticed about... Okay, so whenever you mention Ultraman, all Godzilla fans just want to see Jiris, right? Just because the Godzilla suit was reused. Yes. And yet there is an even more extreme, unique episode in the Ultraman franchise that has more direct ties to the world of unmade Godzilla or Godzilla lore than you... Okay, so as you probably know, I'll make this quick before we bring on Brayton. Originally, one of the first ideas for the movie that would become Godzilla was a little pitch from Eiji Tsuburaya about a giant octopus attacking a small island in the South Pacific. But everyone agreed it wasn't spectacular enough. Well, guess what? He later ended up making that movie into an episode of Ultra Q with Sudar, the reused giant octopus from all the other movies. So in a sense, I just discovered this recently. So in a sense, you have an unmade kaiju movie, an unmade Godzilla movie that was literally reborn as an episode of Ultra Q. And yet you try telling that to the Godzilla fans and they're like, but where's Behemoth?
Just my behemoths.
Okay, so, and with that says, we're gonna bring in somebody temporarily to help us discuss the horror that was Godzilla versus Kong. Somebody who I wasn't expecting to have on this damn live chat whatsoever. So,
well, hello there.
Hi. You're a little.
Thank you.
You're a little loud. Brayton, I can't hear you.
Because in the chat yet, but I'm here now.
Okay.
And he's here.
Okay, excellent. So
I'm happy here. I'm in bed, but I'm making a late night Art Bell sleepy call.
Were you trying to call like a house doctor, but put in the wrong number, dialed the wrong number?
And I'm stuck with you.
Welcome to Art Bell. So, listener, you said you've been sexually assaulted by a Bigfoot. How was that like?
You know what? Halfway through, I started to enjoy it.
Me too, when I met the Loch Ness Monster. She's a heavy gal, to say the least. Next on Art Bell are shadow people living inside your mailbox.
I don't know what you're referencing.
Art Bell.
I don't know what that is, though.
It's a late night radio.
And that infamous clip of someone claiming they worked for Area 51 and talking about interdimensional aliens.
Yeah,
that's the only time I've ever heard of the show.
Yeah. Titan Goji, if you want to join us a little, if you can afford to stay up and join us in like a half an hour, about 40 minutes, that would be cool. But other than that, we're on Skype right now. But
it's like Skype? You mean that thing old people still use?
Shut up! Oh,
You need to set up a system, Raf, where people can literally call into your show. Just set up a number.
oh yeah. At 555, fuck you, 555. Oh god, so much for the show being family friendly.
Get your parents' permission before calling.
Okay.
Be sure to have their credit card ready in hand.
All right, but Titan Goji, he said Yo Shay, and then Shay Smithers says Gyrus versus Gomez. Now there's a next big kaiju battle that we need to happen. With the way things, like, they're on the grasp of bringing back Gyrus officially. Okay, and then Titan Goji says, "What's a Kamen Rider? Is that some sort of Power Ranger knockoff?" Oh god, I've heard that a million times. Okay, and then
wait, Kamen Rider. That's like that guy who's from Edenoi, right? With Furbus.
That's like it's like a ninja, right? That's what a Kamen Rider is. Anyways, okay, so we watched earlier this month. All three of us watched Godzilla vs. Kong. I mean, or whatever the hell it is called. Oh wait, let me change the title card to something a little more.
Review. Here's my review.
Right.
Accurate representation, Brayton.
Right.
Okay, so all right, so earlier this month, because I have HBO Max and so does Brayton, we decided to watch Godzilla versus Kong. Titan Goji says, unfortunately, I may need to rest up a bit. I got the shoot going on tomorrow, and I want to be in a good shape for that. Okay, then you head off to bed. In the future, I'll give a heads up to anybody who wants to be on this show, but we also have live, whatever. So, Godzilla vs. Kong by Titan Goji. Godzilla vs. Kong, we watched that earlier this month, and Andres, you couldn't see it in your region of the world for obvious reasons. Right. Yes. Because the Japanese don't believe in monkeys.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like, what's that? A monkey... monkey king hero person. Wait, isn't that some? Doesn't he? Wait, Kong? You mean like that thing those damn Chinese have made? No, it has nothing to do with them.
Those Chinese.
It's like they turn to Coruscant. Oh, yeah. Those dirty motherfuckers.
Okay, but we watched it, and who wants to go first?
Okay. He's okay.
Yeah, okay. I'll go first. Okay, all right, this is somebody who, unlike most Godzilla fans, I really, really did enjoy Kong Skull Island. I think that was probably the best out of the Monsterverse, despite Brayton's anger of the whole series' waste of good actors and talents, which is something we'll get into soon.
Each movie's guilty of that. None of them is a special offender, I don't think.
Yeah, special guest star cameo from Richard Dance.
So. I do want to step in and mention that, like, the Japanese publicity, when it comes to the Japanese publicity for Godzilla vs. Kong, they did hype up the Japanese actor because he's actually he's a popular actor in Japanese cinema currently.
Which is stupid because he's barely in it.
Exactly. So when my students tell me this, they're like, "Oh, I recognize that person. I saw him in the news. There was like a big hype for him, his first big Hollywood movie." I was like, "Well, too bad, ma'am, because he barely does anything. He says like 2 lines and that's it."
Yeah. So I think that with that says, I think that perfectly sums up the whole movie. Next subject. No, Godzilla vs. Kong is so rushed. It feels, this isn't one of those movies you feel that they should have at least given like maybe an extra 5 minutes just to let the plot breathe. But it's so chopped up just to get.
Wait, there was a plot?
Yes, there was a plot, Andres. Every movie has a plot. Unfortunately, some plots.
Wait, that's the thing. You said a movie has a plot. I didn't see no movie. I just saw an extended YouTube fan animation play out for 2 hours.
Scry, damn you!
Even Scry puts way more of an effort into his story. Have you seen Godzilla Apex?
Yes, I've seen it. Plus he adds. He was adding a lot of alpacas in it too. So it's so cute how he's taking that as his iconic animal trademark.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So and then Shay Smithers says that reminds me of how Akira Takarada's cameo in G14 was cut. But yeah, here's the thing: the movie was so heavily rushed as far as the human subplot went outside the relatively good, the relatively good fight scenes and Kong sequences, that it just feels like, it's funny. To me, this movie is to the MonsterVerse as what Godzilla vs. Zebra was to the original Gamera series. In the sense that, the studio doesn't have faith in us. We can't afford to do everything we want to do. We got to keep this movie under 2 hours. So screw it, just put it in theaters. And it is telling how it was like the first lamb to be thrown across the minefield of the pandemic film going. It's like, the movie has almost reached 400 million. Not quite.
I'm too tired to laugh in your face.
I understood that reference.
There's a funny little video based on one of our conversations that you can find on Facebook. But supposedly the movie, it's funny, what's considered a massive success during the pandemic years, it would have been considered a box office disappointment any other year. Like it's like Godzilla vs. Kong has made the same amount of money as Godzilla King of the Monsters from 2 years ago. But back then, Godzilla King of the Monsters was called a massive flop by all the Hollywood trades. And now all the same Hollywood trades are like sucking gorilla foot and begging for mercy from Godzilla because, this is the first movie to make some extra money. So, but it's like, what is it?
By pandemic standards, I guess.
Yeah, by pandemic.
Let's not pretend this is some big fucking accomplishment when your competition is weeds.
Yeah.
Like, you had, like, the Snyderverse, which was, like, a couple weeks prior, and then before that was, like, Wonder Woman 84. So, what else was there that came out?
Like, a lot of forgettable, like, comedies and smaller independent movies.
Like Thunder Force with Melissa McCarthy.
that came out, like, I think 2 weeks after Godzilla vs. Kong. But then...
There were good movies that came out this year. They were all just released on different streaming things, and I guess the Oscars is being held next weekend at like a Red Roof Inn.
Why?
Oh my goodness! Well, wait, they're being held in a Red Robin? What?
I don't know. I was just making a half-assed joke, but
there's Jack Nicholson enjoying the fries buffet.
He's like, where am I?
Ben Kingsley is like, serving and wearing all those horrible buttons across his vest. I thought that was funny. Well, Brayton, continue.
I made my point. There were good movies that came out, but everything has been slapped out on streaming services.
Yeah.
And has Kong had any presence in theaters? Is that where it's been making like the supposed box office?
Yes, I believe it's because of China.
Oh, China. You traitors. You hate Japan, yet you make Godzilla and Pacific Rim famous.
Yes.
Okay, so, but anyways, the movie just feels incredibly rushed and kind of slapdash together. And it's sad too because I honestly do think had this movie the movie is like about an hour and 45 minutes, and while Brayton will tell you that's as long as it needs to be, I think the movie really needed some extra breathing room because there's a lot of plot points that go totally nowhere. And this seems to be something common of Warner Brothers these days. Like, I was fearing Godzilla vs. Kong was going to be a Wonder Woman 86 style clusterfuck, but thankfully it wasn't as bad, but it's still close enough they can make the comparisons. And this is ironic too, because I was dreading the Snyder Cut, and yet I had to record that movie for a friend, and I actually ended up being more engaged and satisfied with that film than I was with Godzilla vs. Kong. It's like, and it's funny too, I have Godzilla vs. Kong for free, at least for another week until it's no longer available on the service. And yet I've only watched it like maybe 3 times, and one of those times was with you guys. But
I watched it. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, but no, it's weird. It's like it's I don't want to call it the wet fart that ends the Monsterverse, but again, like Gamera versus Zebra, or even like the kind of mellow.
No, I wouldn't say it's like Zebra. Zebra was God was like
much
so
better
ungodly.
movie.
No, it was so ungodly boring because it was mostly just like a chase scene throughout SeaWorld for a good like majority of that film. But for here, it's at the very least, it's if there's one thing I can say about GBK is that it's not boring. I mean, it does get boring to a degree. Like, it's not boring in the sense that there's always something happening, but because there's so much constant action happening, it does lose its impact after a while.
Yeah, I think my real problem with it is I just wish it was a much more polished story. Because again, there is a lot of like character.
You're not supposed to go for the story. You're there for the action. It's like, I don't know. I'm kind of over that. You know,
Yeah.
I've had my fill of movies, and you know, again, I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but it's like I don't want to say that junk food cinema is bad or that you can't enjoy junk food cinema. I enjoy junk food cinema to a degree, but I feel like at this point I've had enough of it, and that's just like junk food itself. Junk food isn't bad per se, but it does become a problem when that's all you are eating, that's all you're consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this point I'm kind of over that style of filmmaking, I guess.
You know, it's funny, I think I agree with you too. Like, even if it is like popcorn entertainment, at least give us a no, dog, I don't want to hear your opinions on
I've never heard Nippo make that sound before.
What's that, Nippo?
Now that sound I've definitely heard too many times.
You think the Fast and Furious movies are underrated? The Rock Johnson should win an Oscar? Okay, you little bastard. So
You know, he's practicing up for his first new single, Nails on a Chalkboard.
But yeah, okay, I don't mind popcorn cinema, but at least give us a little bit of an inkling of brain cells in there, because I think I go ahead and complain about how much there are better movies than Kong Skull Island, but at least that was a film that had some story and a tad
it's a movie that tried.
Yeah, it's a movie that tried. It's not an intellectual accomplishment, but at least it wasn't a complete brain dead whatever, as opposed to like say Godzilla King of the Monsters, where it almost gets into like Josh Whedon snark territories. Even worse. Well, no, actually, no. A Josh Whedon movie is way worse. Have you seen that second Avengers movie? Pu, but yeah, Godzilla vs. Kong. I just wish it was a more polished product. It's like there are a lot of things I do generally enjoy about it, but they're so rushed and kind of hapdashed together that it just kind of ruins the overall experience. And yeah, Gamera versus Zegro is more boring, but like the only reason I make the comparisons is like you can kind of feel the behind the scenes drama and trauma kind of affecting the main movie, because you get the feeling that Warner Brothers is infamous for kind of being way too conservative with the way they take care of their movies. And you get the feeling that it's like, oh yeah, the last couple of movies didn't do as well as we want them to do, even in our precious overlord island of China. So please make this movie much shorter and get rid of a lot of the subplots, especially the one involving the Japanese character, because, you know, we don't want to offend the Chinese audiences.
That is frighteningly true.
Yeah.
That's frighteningly possible.
Yeah, well, I've been thinking a lot about the Legendary Films giant monster films in and out of the Monsterverse. And if there's a Japanese character, you know he or she are not going to last long. It's like, it had Pacific Rim been a Chinese co-production from the very first film, you know, Meiko Mori wouldn't have survived in the first film, and of course we all know what happened to her in the second film, unfortunately. But yeah, it's like, and then the Meg, where the original book had a large cast of Japanese characters who were magically turned into multiple Chinese characters and one expendable Japanese guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, yeah, and it's so ridiculous too what happened to Shirazawa's son. It's like, for a while there, I thought he wasn't even the son. They were just sharing the same name, and it was another terrible in-joke on the part of the producers. And it's the only real thing yeah, the fight scenes were good, but at the same time, the only thing I think I really got a kick out of was Mechagodzilla and King Kong themselves. And the sequences in the Hollow Earth, as ridiculously batshit stupid as that was, at least that's the kind of stupid my mouth waters for in my fantastic cinema. But with that said,
I think that was precisely the moment I decided that I was done with kaiju forever. Was when it loaded. I think like a switch finally just the last sliver of a straw just finally cracked in half in my brain, and I just sadness.
We have the recorded audio. Was it the scene where Kong flew?
That the moment
Twice
to float was when like the anger overcame me.
You know what? I know exactly what I need to do for Draco Azul issue 3 now, Brayden.
Oh yeah, just have him float in the air majestically.
Recreating the pose from the Michelangelo like Adam and God painting, the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, I remember.
Just have Flying Leia do that with Flying Kong.
Oh my goodness. So, okay, go ahead. I actually, okay, I don't know why I'm a sucker for horribly stupid schmaltzy bullshit like that, but I actually enjoyed Kong magically floating to the giant hand. So, but I'm also the guy who thought Godzilla's magical dropkick in Mechaguirus was brilliant cinema, so you can't trust my opinion for anything. So, and yet I'm the host of the show. Go ahead, Andres. What was your thoughts on the film?
Well, I pretty much just gave my thoughts throughout this whole time.
Oh, okay.
Really, there's just not a whole lot I can say about it, only because this simply wasn't the kind of movie that left any sort of impact on me. There is, of course, that like what was the word? The novelty of seeing Godzilla and Kong interacting together for the first time in 50 or so years.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of that novelty really wore out for me by the time the trailer came out. And after waiting for this movie and seeing that damn banner for however many variations of that banner they made for throughout all last year, but at this point it's like I had fun watching the movie, I was entertained, it did the bare minimum of what is needed to make a piece of entertainment, but at the end of the day, I felt nothing. I felt empty. It's like after a day or two after the second time I watched it, I could barely remember anything from the movie because nothing stuck with me. I remember I enjoyed the action. I remember certain bits of the action, but in terms of like the movie as a whole, it's like, yeah, it was good. And that's all I can say about it. I mean, there is that like roughly 2-hour review that I just recorded with Super DM64 and Gorazard of the SOS podcast, which you are currently looking at a preview of the title card done by none other than Winter Gaia, my personal friend of mine,
Mm-hmm.
who Raph was gracious enough to share here on the stream. And
I thought mine was better with Mechagodzilla blowing everything up in bitmap. But no, this is actually pretty funny title card because Mechagodzilla just beats the shit out of Godzilla.
Yeah, he's like, "Fuck both of you. This is my movie now."
Yeah, it's like okay, I know you disagree with me, but I really did feel like Godzilla just came off as a petty bully bitch in the whole movie. You're a
petty bully bitch.
That wasn't Godzilla. It was Gabra in cosplay. and then Mechagodzilla beats the shit out of him, rightfully so. And and my brother Miguel, he came up with his he called Mechagodzilla Mecha Karmazilla.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. That's another thing. It's like I think the fan reaction towards this movie has been a little too extreme. But that's another story in a little bit. But yeah, about what you said about this movie kind of leaves a kind of a hollow experience. I had a weird similar situation with Final Wars, but I think that was more out of disappointment because, this is the 50th anniversary movie. I had my expectations way too high, and then what we got was basically a slightly more polished version of a Michael Bay takes on a Japanese monster movie. And it's funny, like, there was that kind of disappointment and unease after the show, but the movie still kind of stuck with me. I still remembered certain sequences.
Yeah, it's so crazy and out there that there's just that inherent charm of Ryuhei Kitamura, Ryuhei Takahashi, director, his skills as a director.
Andres.
What's that again, Burrito?
It was Ryuhei Takayama-san. Andres is of that. What is that? What is that term? Where it's like it's the whole remembering something.
Mandela effect.
You've got the.
Welcome to Art Bell tonight. We're dealing with the Mandela effect, and our special guest tonight is Don Fry.
Nelson Mandela, son.
How drunk are you right now, Mr. Fry?
Not drunk enough.
Are you still a dangerous man, Don Fry?
Now, tell us about the time you made love to the bunyip in Australia.
I would pay full price to watch Don Fry and Steven Seagal go at it on pay-per-view.
Steven Seagal would be dead 10 times over. I'd pay to see that too.
No, that I would watch that over Godzilla and Kong. Just recreate the battle sequences from Godzilla versus Kong, but with Don Fry and.
Do you think Don Fry is a legit actor, a legit action star? Can I laugh in your face?
You can, but I'll get you.
I gotta ask, Piggy, are you still dangerous?
Where was I going with this?
Where were we?
Can I just quickly say my review of Godzilla vs. Kong?
Go
in a
ahead.
nutshell, Andres' Little Miss Piggy impression brought me far more joy than that movie.
Kermit. Wait, was that Marge doing her impression of Miss Piggy?
Or is it Yoda doing an impression of Marge doing an impression of Miss Piggy? Is it Grover? Is it Grover doing an impression of Yoda doing an impression of Marge doing an impression of Miss Piggy?
Put on a show, you must, Kermit. Oh my goodness. What
was it? It's
yeah.
Okay, now I remember. So yeah, even though I did talk about this movie extensively with my friends, me being the odd man out here, as I wasn't as enthusiastic. Spoiler alert: I wasn't as enthusiastic as Dylan and David were. But you can look forward to that.
Monkey beat the monster robot. Yeah.
You can look forward to that review eventually when it comes out. Just waiting on one little last piece of the video before I can go forward with it. Hint, hint, Brayton.
Going on muffins. I've been too busy eating muffins.
We know how much you love to shove your face between muffins, Brayton. So.
Wow.
Even for you, Rat, that was lame.
He called me Tinkerbell last week.
What?
Remember you called me Twinkerbell? Remember that?
Oh, that was me just getting Tinkerbell's name wrong. I didn't mean that. That one I apologize for. This one I will try to. No, I won't. I did something terrible. I'm so sorry.
Run.
But anyways, yeah. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that there's not a whole lot for me to comment on because the movie didn't offer anything for me to comment on in the first place, other than what am I supposed to say? Oh, that action scene was cool, and so was that action scene, and that thing. Do you remember the time when Kong punched Godzilla, and then Godzilla punched Kong, and then Kong punched Godzilla? What is there to say beyond that?
Right. It's
one big hollow earth of a mess. Hollow.
I know how you feel towards me and my puns. See, silence speaks for itself. So, or did I just get disconnected? Hello?
I'm here.
Okay.
The difference between you and Raph is when my joke bombs, I don't say, "Oh, come on!"
You just sneak away.
You see, See, the thing is, when you acknowledge that a joke bombed, you're only making it worse. That's why you're supposed to move on.
Yeah, but sometimes I do get a sick pleasure out of the fact that some of my jokes just failed miserably. Like, I do enjoy a lot of the horrible puns I make, and then you guys just go like, oh. There's a slight level of sadistic evil within me, so.
Right now, Shay Smithers says, I wonder how Tim Curry trying to do a Miss Piggy impression would sound like.
Oh, Tommy! Make love to me!
Tim Curry's here. I prefer to try to do Miss Piggy.
Come here, you felt green fat boy!
Spice!
Just say it randomly.
What were you going to say, Brayden?
I'm having nightmares tonight. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Oh no, it is the time warp.
Recently his birthday recently passed this week.
Who, Shay Smithers?
No, Tim fucking Curry.
Oh, duh. That's right. Man, that's one of the things I hate about doing the kaiju image of the day, which I'm going to be stopping for at least a month to give myself a
know a lot of posts aren't kaiju, but actually robots.
Giant robot. It's a supernatural kitchen sink genre. Okay, there's going to be robots here every once in a while. So
I'm still gonna make fun of you for it.
Oh boo! You wouldn't want it any other way, man.
That is true.
Yes. But Tim Curry's it's like that's another thing too. It's like, no offense, Andres, but I really hate how the fans like to nitpick about what counts as a kaiju and doesn't count as a kaiju. It's a giant freaking monster in a Godzilla thing. Let the monkey be. It's like, but that's another thing I think kind of soured my whole impression of this whole movie, was just kind of the fan whining and crybabying. Because it's bad enough with the Snyder cut and the Snyder fans like saying, it's like, oh, we finally got what we wanted. It's like, and then like kind of holding it to people's face. Thankfully we got something of a decent miniseries out of the whole mess. But with Godzilla vs. Kong, it's like, yay, Godzilla won! Nothing else matters! Oh, my pants have just broken! Ah! I don't know why I went with that, but that's exactly how a lot of the Toho Legion fans are like. And it's like, leading up to the movie, it's like, it got so disgusting reading Facebook and seeing so many pictures of dead monkeys or Godzilla covered in animal turds. And similar kind of like literal and figurative shit posting memes just based around this whole movie. And now it's like the little Godzilla dweebs are like all happy their giant lizard won the battle against Kong. Even knowing technically, who gives a crap? And if you were to make the argument, I think Kong came out the better man. Because, it's like, Godzilla may have won the fight, but Kong won our hearts. And plus, Mechagodzilla beat the shit out of Godzilla. Like, you and I were both laughing our asses off when we saw Godzilla be thrown around like a rag doll. Not the King of the Monsters' best day, but yeah, I think just the fan reaction towards this movie before and after the fact has really kind of soured my experience or enjoyment for it. I don't know, just nah. Meh. It's like I just put on a picture of a sleepy, drunken Kong, so that's how I kind of feel right now towards everything but Kong. So,
pretty much.
Yeah. So, how much more time do you have, Andres? Because there's another subject.
My next class starts in 2 hours.
Okay, so we got a little more time, but Brayton, do you want to stick around a little bit longer because we're going to go into more stupid kaiju stuff, or you just want to kind of bow out?
I'll stay here until I fall asleep.
Okay then. All right. Thankfully you don't snore like me and Brayton, so we're going to be okay. So
You and Andres.
Damn it. I'm sorry. I get you guys mixed up all the time. You look so similar. the 6-foot tall Canadian pale-face lighthouse and the small, sturdy Hispanic mountains.
Andre, this is the first time I've been called a lighthouse. Is the first time you've been referred to as a mountain?
I don't know what... It was either that or a boulder, and I felt uncomfortable saying boulders. Damn it, this show just went horribly wrong.
It would help if you'd stop talking, Raph.
No, but then you have the silence, and it just gets even weirder.
What's so weird about that just now?
That isn't so weird.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
kind of...
Okay, yeah, we're not on real radio, so we can afford for the silence to happen.
Ah, there.
Yeah. Let's see what Shay Smithers has to say. Well, at least the Hong Kong makes a good setting for a kaiju fights, AOL. You know it's bad when you...
Did you just say AOL?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, LOL. Okay. Sorry about that. I always get those two mixed up. You know it's bad when you end up agreeing with Dirty McCruption on the movie, Raph. Oh, that's right. That little video review. I bet I know what your thoughts of Godzilla flying in versus Hedorah now, Raph. Chase Misery says a lot. He loved the Tim Curry thing. He's laughing. And, oh, his birthday. Oh, he doesn't have a birthday till November. Okay, that's it. Thank you, Shay Smithers, for adding to the awkwardness. Also, my dog is licking himself. Stop. Don't you dare look at me like that. Okay. So, Brayton, before you fall asleep too much, do you want to say anything, updates about your little projects going on?
I've got Brayton's ASMR sleepy time coming up in about 12 minutes.
What does that mean?
Well, keep me entertained. That's your challenge. Can you keep me, an audience member, entertained enough so that I don't fall asleep?
Andres?
Or are you like those gentle relaxation 10-hour long videos that people put on to go to sleep to?
Oh, like the rain sounds? I usually put those on to put myself to sleep.
Forest, Christmas music by the fire, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Or underwater noises or rainforest.
You want to explain your little underwater escapades? Your little creepy snuff films where you cut out the killing?
Okay, you find too much of what I do creepy, okay? That's probably on you, pal. But no,
I think it's upsetting that you don't. It's normal.
Okay, for that, okay, you get punished. You will suffer horribly, Brayton. Okay, so what happened recently was I was doing some basic extra shots for a film project coming up. Nothing major, I guess, but it was just, I'll talk about it a little later tonight. But I decided to kind of do some underwater lighting tests / insert shots for this upcoming film. And it was just simple. I just grabbed like a white piece of poster board, put it against some blue lighting that I had on tap, and even though I couldn't put the audio afterwards, I decided just to play it as it was going, just, so if I could show the video raw, at least you have some idea what's going on. And then I took a water bottle filled with some water, and I taped it to a large-scale garage flashlight to kind of mimic the lights, and I did two test films and the extra footage I had to film, which I'm not going to be sharing public anytime soon, because I'm naked in it. No, I'm not naked. So, sorry, ladies. I hate to disappoint all of you. So, and when I mean all of you, I mean none of you. Yeah, I was about to say that, Andres. Thank you for pushing me out of the Laugh Olympics and then taking the prize for yourself while Muttley and Dick Dastardly cry alongside me. But yeah, one of the tests I did, and both of them I posted online. In fact, Shay Smithers saw one of them where it was me pretending to be a floating dead body in the ocean. But yeah, I did these underwater tests. I'm actually proud how simple and effective they are, and I do want to kind of do some more in the future, especially since I kind of want to do a short film about underwater monsters. And no, I'm pretty happy with the way they came out. Unfortunately, Breakton had a different impression altogether. You care to share, Breakton?
Well, I mean, it's kind of clear to, I think, anybody who didn't make it, if they watch the video, it comes off a little, at the least eerie, a little unnerving, perhaps even a little traumatic.
What, you don't want me holding you like you're floating in water ever again, Nippo? Oh, now you don't want to talk. You're a horrible animal, you know that?
I didn't mean it to offend you, Ralph. I'm just, my opinion, there's a bit of a haunting quality to some of the videos.
Okay, I granted it without context, and of course nobody reads the description, so it's never without context.
Well, your descriptions are like 5 paragraphs long to explain it. 2 minutes you post.
Right. Hold on, let me find the link so I can share one of these. But I don't care. I'm going to show it. I'm sharing the videos with you in it. I don't care if you were naked in those videos. They're online already and people can enjoy it. No, we didn't use that take because of all your controversial monologuing about Chicago. No, I'm not. I'm on a diet. I'm not buying you a pizza. We're not sharing a pizza tonight, dog.
I'm only having it for myself this time. Again.
2 o'clock in the morning, after all, where I am.
Right. You dickweeds. I'm going to be so happy when you two fall asleep and the rest of the show is just me rambling on in the wee hours of the morning. Oh my god. So, dumb dog. I blame the dog on all this. This is your fault, dog. Okay, but no, yeah, let me find the video with the dog in it. And I'll share it in the chat area. But no, I wanted to ask you, Brayton, did you want to mention anything about the little fan film project you're doing?
Yeah, an update's going up. I already posted an announcement for it. There's a update video I'm making about us going into production over the summer. Posting on, the 1st, so like in a week from now, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'll be talking about that and answering some questions that people have. So if you have any questions about it, send it to our email, or if you're here in the chat, post it in the chat, or carrier pigeon works too. But yeah, that's all I got. Oh. I sleep now. Good night.
Good night, our little plastic.
Leave me alone.
Our little plastic white-colored skeleton in your bed of bagels, you arrogance, whatever. So, I can't think of anything at this moment. Okay, well, we have you for another 2 hours, Andres. So, and since this is the Kaiju show... Oh, hold on, somebody just messaged me. Oh, yeah, it was just Brayton a couple hours ago. Okay, we're good. So.
Hey!
What?
You're only getting to my messages from a couple hours ago now?
Yeah, it's help me, my house is on fire, love Brayton. No, I'm sorry, Brayton, you're on your own.
What if it was legitimate?
I would be terrified and try and get a plane ticket, even though I only have 20 minutes. Dog, what is wrong with you? Stop it.
I like it when your dog boos you. He's your captive audience member.
Yeah. Shay says, Brayton's kind of abusive towards you, isn't he, Raph? No shit.
I am the devil to Wynn's angel on Raph's shoulder. Without the two of us, he would fall apart. And Andres is kind of the neutral attorney figure. I don't know.
Okay.
We're the 3 pillars of Raph's.
I represent purgatory.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, the Dante.
I'm the Virgil of Dante's of Enshoma's Inferno.
Oh, I'm such a huge fan of you. Can I hold your hand and get your autograph? You want to go to heaven with me? I know it's not possible, but I love you so much, Virgil. I'm doing I'm doing my impression of Dante from Dante's Inferno. If you actually read the book,
right?
Yeah,
I saw Overly Sarcastic Productions video on it.
I saw the play, an Italian production from the late '80s. With Riccardo Rambaldi doing the creature effects.
I saw the modernized paper puppet movie adaptation.
I saw that one too. They used to play that.
Nobody ever talks about it.
Yeah, although
it's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. There's only one little thing that kind of irks me about it. Their attempts to kind of update some of the information, while it's clever, it's a little insulting to actual celebrities in real life who, probably.
Like when they showed the suicide, the people who committed suicide, and like one of them's like Marilyn Monroe. It's like, aww.
Yeah, that's a little unfair. And then of course, when they look at history's greatest monsters, Tokyo Rose is among them, even knowing her story is completely misrepresentative. And if she was a criminal, she was like the least to worry about it throughout all of World War II history. But other than that, no.
Although I did like the punishment, the ironic punishment they gave to Hitler.
I forgot.
We're okay. So there was a part in hell where for people who attempted to look into the future, that was considered a big enough sin to where your punishment would be that your head would be on backwards forever, always trying to see the future. Now you see the past, only behind you. So that was Hitler's own punishment, and then Dante was like, "Really? That's the punishment for Hitler?" Then Virgil was essentially like, "Hey man, I don't make the rules here."
That version of Virgil is really cool. He's just so chill about the whole thing. So, but yeah, that was a really good movie. It was a good movie, just other than kind of the insults to certain historic historic characters was a little. It felt like, basic history you would get at a usual high school. But no, there were some clever bits in there. Very well done. And also, it was the right amount. It wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the film. They used to air it all the time on Ovation when Ovation was a good cable network.
That's where I saw it.
Yeah.
That's how I found out about Ovation, through that. I was like, hey, Dante's Inferno, I'm slightly familiar with that.
Yeah. But no, it's such a shame that Ovation has kind of just turned into another regular network. It's like, how many Ben Stiller comedies can you show in a week? It's like, for crying out loud, you had so many really cool obscure documentaries going on, and now we're stuck with this. So
and for anyone who wants to look, just simply look up Dante's Inferno 2007.
Right. So, well, I'm going to change the title card now that we're no longer talking to Brayton anymore. So
what? I'm still here.
He's still here.
No, he isn't. He disappeared a long time ago. Okay. Silence. Quiet. What were we talking about? Okay, well, since we have you for another hour or two, and I did want to ask you, there was a major Japanese mecha anime movie that came out recently, almost a week before Godzilla Singular Point and Godzilla vs. Kong.
Dynazenon,
yeah. That weirdly enough, no one is talking about. It's like, and I do want to kind of, if you're okay
that's because no one other than me has seen it, and the reason why I haven't talked about it is because I thought it'd be more interesting to talk about it with the one and only Yoko Higuchi.
Okay,
in due time.
Well, okay, is that video coming up anytime soon or no?
No, it'll be after he returns home to America.
Okay, so, oh my God, that's going to be a while then.
No, he's going back home. Not next Monday, but the following Monday.
Right, by Catapult. he's gonna do a Danger Diabolic. Whee! Bye, Yoko. All right, but so if you don't want to go in too much into detail, but that's one of the main reasons I wanted to bring you on board tonight is that, as you know, I like talking about lesser known kaiju films and more obscure properties, and it amazes
Right, obscure of all things. Evangelion is the most obscure anime of all time.
relatively speaking, because this movie came out like less than a week before the bigger profile Godzilla nonsense. And weird enough, not many people are talking about it on the anime community. And
again, they haven't fucking seen it yet.
Well, okay, from what you told me, you were hanging out at the local park when suddenly a small Hideaki Anno rabbit came by.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Me and my brother Kyle here, we was hitchhiking down a long and lonesome road.
I didn't know you were...
All of a sudden...
I didn't know you were related to Kyle Grass.
All of a sudden, there's a shiny demon, a shiny angel in the middle of the road, and he said,
"Play me the best Ultraman song in the world.
Or I'll eat your soul." So, by the way, that is an amazing image right there.
Yeah, I found this wonderful piece of fan art on Facebook. Unfortunately, the original artist was not credited. And unfortunately, my attempts to try to find the original artist failed miserably on Google for obvious reasons. But yeah, this is basically Eva-01 dealing with some of the other giant robots of Hideaki Anno and two other familiar faces.
Well, technically, Gurren Lagann has nothing to do with Anno. Rather, it was
Gainax?
It was still Gainax, but the guy who created Gurren Lagann was a former assistant of the creator of Getter Robo, Ken Ishikawa.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, somebody, a new YouTuber, he did this 2.5-hour video about the history of Getter Robo.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've seen it then.
I've seen part of it because it's 2 hours, so I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen the intro alone. I can already tell it's fucking brilliant. I always wanted to make a video like that in my lifetime, but it's like, nah, this guy, along with Titan Goji's own video summarizing Getter Robo, they did what I could never do. So major props to both of them.
Yeah, and it's so comprehensive too. That's one of the things I can't stand about a lot of people's anime videos. They do a piss poor job trying to explain anything. And this guy thankfully does a little better than most anime videos explaining what the heck is going up with Getter Robo. So, as well as touching upon a lot of obscure titles. But let me share that video in the comments section.
Okay, if you guys, any of you in the audience, hear of have never heard of Getter Robo and you like giant robots, watch that video. Also, speaking of like fan art involving Evangelion, there's this guy who recently put out a really hilarious series of images that depicts what if adult Amuro Ray from Gundam was in the role of Shinji in Evangelion. It's hilarious.
Everyone would die sooner.
You'd see.
Okay, so hold on, I just got a message from somebody. No, nobody. Okay, that was weird. But no, okay, so relatively obscure, the fourth and final of the Rebuild Evangelion movies. Like, why is it so overlooked? It's like, is it just because it got buried by all these supposedly bigger, more recent kaiju stuff coming out?
I think it's just mainly because it's been delayed so often that people just haven't had a chance to keep up with it. Like, it's on top of the fact that it's been 10 fucking years since the last Rebuild of Evangelion movie came out, and that movie already soured a lot of people in terms of their expectations for Evangelion. What they wanted was a pure, cinematic retelling of the original TV series, where instead it just goes off the rails in the third movie to do its own thing entirely. So that turned a lot of people off for when it came to the Rebuild series in general. And meanwhile, when it comes on top of that, due to Gainax and Studio Kara's financial troubles, or mostly not so much Kara, but just Gainax's financial troubles in general, it just prolonged the inevitable delay of Evangelion, of the last Eva movie. So yeah, it's been almost 10 years later. This thing was supposed to come out last year, but then it was delayed to January, then delayed to what was it, March? Yeah, to March. And so it was announced like its eventual release day was announced like literally a week before it was going to be released. It's like, oh hey guys, here's the new release. It's next week. It's like, wait, what? So we didn't no one had any time to prepare for that. And again, it's in Japan. And it's in theaters. It's not streaming. So there's no way you can really pirate the movie unless it eventually comes out on DVD and it gets fan subbed, or DVD Blu-ray and then gets fan subbed, or someone gets those like shitty video cam recordings, cam rips of Ava, which people generally don't do at all in Japan.
That's the joke I was trying to get at earlier, where you had to follow a little white rabbit Hideaki Anno to his magical underworld just to watch this movie.
It's like no one's talked about it because no one can talk about it, and for the weebs who are like me who are in Japan right now, they can't. Like, I could talk about it, but I don't know. It's just I've had this lack of motivation to make videos in general, only because I've just been so preoccupied on my Draco Azul work that, like, for me personally, I just had a lack of motivation to work on YouTube stuff in general. Outside of fully endorsed, because fully endorsed it's much easier to pull off. So if I was to talk about Ava, I'd rather have the chance to talk about it with someone who knows Ava. And I thought, hey, this be a great opportunity. This be a good, decent opportunity to do a collab with Yoko Higuchi, since it's like, hey, he seems like a cool guy. Dude fucking worked on Shin Godzilla. I would love to have an opportunity to do my first ever collab with him. He seems like a cool dude.
Right.
And, God willing, I'm able to meet him in person next week.
Plus, he's the much thinner son of the special effects director of Gamera. Is that true?
No.
Okay.
So I guess it's like, I can speak only for myself, but in terms of everyone else who's like a YouTuber who happens to live in Japan, I guess there are YouTubers, like foreign YouTubers who live in Japan, but I guess, I don't know, maybe just not a lot of them are anime YouTubers. I mean, I know Giguk has been to Japan, but I don't know if Giguk lives in Japan, and I don't know if he's made a review of it or not. But even then, in terms of the kaiju community barely has an interest in Evangelion to begin with.
The kaiju community doesn't even know where they are half the time. They're like ducks. They look at the sky when it rains and they open their mouths and go like, "Is that Godzilla?" And that's I'm drowning.
The only thing I can think of really is like when our friend Derek ended up doing a review for the original Ava series, and that's about it. I think. Wait, no, Titan Gojo. No, I don't think Davis has done an Ava video. I don't think so. But yeah, it's like people paid attention to Evangelion, especially when it came out on Netflix. But that was so like there was a surge in popularity within the kaiju community around the time Shin Godzilla came out, solely due to its association with the director. But yeah, I guess it's a number of factors that could explain why no one's talking about this movie. People either don't have access to it, don't care enough to talk about it on YouTube if they can watch it. And yeah, I guess like people will only be able to talk about it in due time when it eventually hits stateside. Like, I mean, like, if you want to look for people's reaction, go to the Japanese side of things. This thing was a huge hit in Japan when it finally came out. I have a student of mine. She's like, she's a first-year high schooler. She loves Evangelion, and she's seen the movie like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 times by now.
Now, I just have to kind of clarify, both for my sake and the audience, 2 of you.
I take 3.
All 2 of you. This movie, did it get a wide release in Japan, or was it a relatively limited release? Okay,
wide release, because I guess up until recently, with the announcement of the last state of emergency that I talked about at the beginning of this stream, that closed all movie theaters in those affected areas. Prior to that, Evangelion was in every theater. Like, that's the thing. Theaters never closed in Japan when the pandemic hit.
How come?
Because Japan. Anyways,
okay.
so like the movie had been delayed because so theaters were at a limited capacity at this point. So it's like you have to have like for every member you have in your party, you got to make sure they like if I choose a seat on a map, they make sure to block out the seats next to me so that no one can sit next to me. No one sits next to each other. So there has been like limitations in terms of show times, in terms of like seating arrangement. So on top of that, there was like another like a state of emergency that happened in January. So there were certain aspects that caused the movie to be delayed, and so they opened up the very first weekend after the last state of emergency was lifted. Just so I only theorize was so they chose to have like a new release date so soon after the last state of emergency ended was so that they can have the maximum amount of people available to see it. So they chose the very first like day as soon as the state of emergency was lifted.
Okay. So, yeah, no, it's just I think it's just kind of hard for me to realize that this movie gets so little play. So little.
No, it is.
Yeah.
So little what? So little what?
So little. I was going to say so little play, but that's not the word I'm looking for. So little exposure. But like you said,
no, it is getting exposure.
Yeah,
in
just
Japan.
in Japan. Yeah, just like Spinal Tap, it's big in Japan.
What are you expecting from America? They can't fucking see it, Ralph.
It's not that long of a swim.
Why haven't you tried then, asshole?
Because the water's cold. And there's turtles peeing in it, too.
Yes, it's Rap's one weakness. Rap stinks. I'll get you next time you come.
Oh, my God. All right, yeah. No, I'm okay. So, but with that out of the way, yeah. Okay, hold on. Gotta get my brain together. Work brain. Rebooting. Raph is rebooting. What was that, Brayton? What snark do you want to throw in?
Pick up the pieces. Dust them all up. Slap the puzzle back together.
Of a confused Raph.
Pick up the pieces. All right? Pick up the pieces.
Out of sight?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. With that says, okay, so even the last of the rebuild Evangelion movies did really well in Japan, box office wise too, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and critically?
Yes. Oh, yeah, for the most part, people were very positive about the movie. The major criticism that seems to be universal all across the board in terms of Japanese critics and fans and even myself is that this movie puts a lot of focus on a character that hadn't been given much time to grow throughout this entire series, and that is the character of Mari. She was someone who was introduced, she was a brand new original character introduced in the second rebuild movie. She was never in the original series. She was there because Anno literally wanted to throw in a new character to sort of fuck with fans' expectations. However, he didn't give this character a purpose in the role, and he didn't tell his staff of writers what her overall part in the grand scheme of things was going to be. So what I assume was they tried their best to have her do stuff while avoiding any major interactions with the rest of the cast, so they can allow the characters to do their thing like they did in the series without her coming in and sort of breaking that like inner character, breaking up that inner character relationship.
On a quick
that web of relationships.
Yeah, I gotta say on a quick side note, it's thank goodness nothing horrible happened between the third film and this fourth film in that 10-year gap, because from what I've seen, or at least understand, the Japanese are just as bad as Americans when it comes to being tight-lipped about plot points during production. So that's why when an author or a showrunner is either fired or unfortunately dies, a lot of story ideas that should have been written on a backup document for the rest of the crew to see is never done and lost. And as such, you see a lot of these shows just kind of haphazardly cross the finish line, not knowing what the hell they were supposed to be doing to begin with. So it's, oh god, it's like that Getter Robo reminded me of some of the behind the scenes bullshit that happened on Getter Robo Armageddon, like how the story just completely changed after the original director was let go, so to speak. So
was he let go, or was he? I guess that person explains it in that video, huh?
Well, whatever happened, it was something that neither side likes to talk about. But for the most part,
right, which is a very Japanese thing to do. You never want to talk smack because that would risk you getting ostracized, unless you're someone as powerful as Ano, who's like ready to air out all of Gainax's dirty laundry like he did last year.
Well, of course, he can transform into Ultraman. In a onesie. Onesie of the gods.
And jeans.
Yes. Yes. My Ultra Nerd in jeans.
Anyways, as I was saying, so they relegated Mari to nothing but action sequences, which are kick-ass action sequences, but that's all really she's there for.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until this third movie that she's suddenly given a very prominent role, but at this point, we've barely spent any time with her as a character for us to really care about what's going on with her and her relationship to the cast, because they haven't given us any time to know her, know where she came from. Well, they do hint at where she comes from, and it's very intriguing to the point where you could have easily built a whole entire movie out of her potential origins. So it feels like there's a whole entire story missing from this piece of the puzzle here. So I like the idea of what they ultimately end up doing with Mari. I just wish I got the chance to know her so I can care more.
Yeah, do you think that's just kind of ambiguous storytelling or just poor planning in the storytelling?
Again, given that everyone's been feeling the same way, I want to say poor planning. Because again, Ano just wanted to introduce a character that was there to just... He was there to subvert expectations. He was pulling a Ryan Johnson here.
Oh.
Where he literally wanted to fuck with the fans. But again, he wanted to do that, but had no through line with what to do with the character originally. So like the writers were just making the best out of a confusing situation. From what I could research.
Now that you mention that, it's so hilarious how the character was first introduced to the rest of the cast. She just parachutes out of the sky in front of Shinji.
Yes, exactly.
And it's like, don't say anything. I'll see you later. Wink, wink. And like breaks and she just skipped away.
Exactly. That's what happens in the second movie. It's like they try to introduce her and then have her like, skip on out of there so she can let the story progress naturally and not ruin the character dynamics. That's what I wanted to say earlier.
Yeah. But now, oh god, I know you don't want to go into heavy spoilers because of your...
Well, I could if you want to.
Yeah, well, first off, barely anybody watching this, except for, of course, for Shay Smithers, my dog, and Brayton. Bird. Okay, so do they at all reveal who Mari is? Because I do know who she's based on.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Although that was explained to me by my student afterwards, which I thought is very appropriate given where they ultimately what they tried to do with her.
Yeah. Well,
so
go ahead.
Well,
with that said, I do have a follow-up question to that too, but let's go with this first.
Okay, so what they ultimately end up revealing with Mari is that she was someone who she was a former child genius who went to university at a much earlier age, around high school age, where she ended up befriending Shinji's parents, as well as their professor, who is like I forgot his name, but he's like the gray-haired man who's always standing next to Gendo. And so she was originally on the side of Gendo and that old guy. She even goes so far as to still call him senpai, or sensei. I mean, not senpai. So she was friends with Shinji's. She personally knew Shinji's parents when they were all college students, and at some point she became an Eva pilot. She stopped aging, and she eventually left the group to do her own thing. Thus, the guy with the gray hair, the former professor, ends up referring to her as the traitor.
Oh.
So
you left our group of friends, so screw you, Mari.
So you can join Will, not our Will, the Will that became which is the organization that I'm blanking on her name. Damn it. What was her name?
The blonde-haired scientist lady?
No, other one.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Older lady who kissed Shinji. Masato? Andres?
Misato, can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're a little loud, though, so...
Misato.
Masato, yeah. So,
Am I still loud?
No, we can hear you okay now.
Okay. So yeah, Misato, she created that new organization to rebel against NERV. Mm-hmm. And yeah, at some point between the second movie and the third movie, it's implied that Mari abandoned NERV to join Will.
Okay. So I'm trying to find a good picture of Mari right now, but it's just mostly fan art, and it's like, no, this is a family show. Fuck it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so no, it's not as ambiguous or as horrible as most anime gets, because I get the feeling a lot of anime, they build a world, but their world building sucks. Like, they come up with a basic world for the plot to exist, but as far as the finer details are concerned, it's like, a wizard did it.
Hey, Kerwell, he's in the chat.
Yeah.
A friend of mine and Steve's.
Oh, nice. Welcome, Kerwell, to,
Kerwell, an actual wizard? I think you jinxed that, Ralph.
What?
Kerwell sounds like an actual wizard, the name.
Oh, okay. Well, screw you, Kerwell, for all your horrible plot points in Lord of the Rings. No, just joking. Hey there, Kerwell. Welcome to Night Owling with Andres, our occasional guest, and Brayton. So...
Kerwell in a battle with Criswell.
Yeah, oh my god, that would be awesome.
on the run with Lookwell.
Oh my goodness, that would be even better. So.
And you might be familiar with his creation, Kaz, the gecko kaiju from Colossal Kaiju Combat.
Oh, yeah.
Now a playable character in Daikaiju Daikazen Versus.
Yeah, that Kaz is isn't it like a ninja gecko from outer space?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know.
I think he's from space.
Yeah.
You can correct us if we're wrong, Carwell.
Now I'm even more impressed, Carwell, the wizard. And you're familiar, Kaz, the giant space ninja gecko. So, Kaz was definitely one of the more appealing designs without being like overly ridiculous. So, it's like there was a lot of good kaiju in Colossal Kaiju Combat, but you know that some of the fans were like trying too hard in the origins department or even the designs. Like that one monster whose name starts with an X, who was like a god beyond gods, or like that golf course monster that had a great design, but the story behind it was a little on the stupid side. Anyways. But yeah, welcome, Carwell. So this last Evangelion movie, not to get too much into the ending or anything, from what I understand, Sure. It's definitely the most not uplifting, but like life.
No, I'd say it's definitely it's like a stark contrast to what happened in End of Evangelion.
Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, including Brayton, I'm just going to single you out at every moment, Brayton. End of
Is that right, Brayton?
Yeah, Brayton. Why are you here, Brayton? Who let you aboard, Brayton?
I think you begged me.
Oh, yeah. Damn it. I blame myself.
Damn it, Brayton.
Yeah, Brayton, why? Making me beg for you to come aboard.
Brayton.
Yeah, I blame you, Brayton. God, we are so treacherous towards each other. So, anyways, yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Brayton, End of Evangelion is basically an exceptionally fucked up movie. Because it's basically the end of the world. Senji has a mental and breakdown. There's a meta commentary going on with the footage, including a brief visit to the live action world. And this time it was done as an artistic choice as opposed to Gainax losing money again.
Right.
Many characters horrifically die, and if they don't die, they get turned into primordial orange juice and enter an alternate dimension that Senji doesn't want to have anything to do with, aka heaven. And I think somebody best described it as the anime equivalent of David Lynch's more apocalyptic works. Would you agree on that?
I guess possibly, yeah. It's ultimately it's like a further deep dive into Shinji's mind, which is the series did do, but this one's like goes more direct than any other time, where Shinji is at his lowest point. He is forced to care about the fate of humanity when he just simply doesn't. Mm-hmm. He has this sort of like fuck everything moment, and
literally being dragged around by Masato as mercenaries are shooting at them.
Right, but again, this guy, his depression has reached peakness to the where, again, like people call Shinji selfish, but it's like this is a mentally abused, mentally damaged. This person is in need of mental health. He's not in the head. As much as people want to complain about Shinji being a coward, he's not right in the head.
Oh my god, I hate this.
He needs help, and he's given the exact opposite of help in the movie. So of course he would reach the fuck everything moment until he is eventually he convinces himself, no, there is more to life than pain. There, with pain comes beauty, and that is what life is all about.
Yeah, just before Seal and Nerve decides to end the world and turn everybody into
this is after the fact. This is after the fact.
Oh yeah, okay.
He then does his best to reverse that, and I'd say there is they take that similar journey of Shinji finding meaning in life again, but handles it in a very profound way in this new movie, I feel, where the biggest spoiler alert, the biggest contrast here is that Shinji, after the death of Kaworu, he is given the time to heal and given the time and the space and the attention and love necessary to come back from the depths of despair, and is able to find motivation again to carry on the fight. And that is the most significant change to this plot that leads to the more positive ending of this movie. Shinji finally grows as a result.
It's so funny. It's very nice you should mention that. I will say that because, Evangelion isn't famous for its happier times. But the thing, I've only seen the first two rebuild of Evangelion movies, and the thing I instantly noticed was that the characters were more heartfelt. Like, things were a little more sincere and calm and loving, even though it was the same events. And I don't know...
Which is ironic, given that it goes the opposite direction with the third movie.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's like the first two movies was Evangelion, but with like a better heart. And I thought they did that for dramatic effect. If they made everything much more nicer, more pleasant, more loving, that when the plot knife comes and stabs you in the heart, it hurts a lot more than before. Because there's a lot of anime that just, it's just dread upon grimmality and edgelord scariness that you just become numb to it after a while. It's one of the reasons I couldn't get into anime shows like Agami ga Kill and nonsense like that, or the Berserker anime.
I hope you weren't going to say Kill la Kill, because that is exact opposite.
I adore Kill la Kill. In fact, Kill la Kill is so fun that I think if it wasn't so long, we could recommend it to Brayton and he would enjoy it. So,
though.
He would enjoy some of the fashionable characters. He would definitely. So, oh god, it's like it's like Brayton would be a good member of the Nudist Beach Rebellion.
What?
The genuineness of that what?
Nudist Beach Rebellion?
Yes. Okay.
Spoiler alert, Brayton. In this show, clothes are bad.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's real life too.
Yeah.
Clothes are a necessary evil.
Yeah. Well. In the world of Kill la Kill, clothes are the byproduct of an alien race of living clothes who are basically turning human into cattle. That's the only reason our once natural nude species has started to wear clothes, because aliens forced us to do it. And there's human villains who are working with the oncoming aliens, known as, what were the name of the evil clothes aliens in Kill la Kill? The
no
covers?
Idea.
The covers.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, and it's up to our
what level in Scientology do you find this out?
Well, me and Andres and the director of Kill la Kill tried to submit this to Scientology and to be like, no way, fool, this is stupid. We were rejected.
Now, excuse us while we worship our Lord Xenu.
Exactly. I thought Xenu was the bad guy. What the?
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but anyways. Among the various heroes and factions against the Rago company, which is the major Japanese company that helps produce the Clover clothes, is
I thought the Rago company made like pasta and stuff.
I'm saying it wrong, and I'm not. I don't want to research it right now. Anyways, Ragu. Rakio? Anyways, there's an evil clothes company working with evil clothes aliens, and one of the factions that rebel against the evil clothes is Nudist Beach, which is this rebellion group that is filled with nearly naked soldiers who pilot very awkward robot weapons. And no offense, Brayton, but some of the characters who work in Nudist Beach, they kind of remind us a bit of you, so...
And don't put me into that. Don't rope me into that. That nonsense you're speaking.
Right.
I hope you think it in a flattering sense.
I don't know. Like the characters of Kill la Kill are so bizarre and outrageous and fun. It's like it's kind of it's a loving backhanded compliment to be compared to any character from that series. So.
Right.
Okay, although to be fair, Brayton, I think it'd be more like one of the big four, the blue-haired hacker who has the... I don't, it's a weird show. Let's not get into it. We're already talking about anime as it is. So, anyway. Yeah, but getting back to Rebuild of Evangelion, Evangelion. I've not seen the third or fourth movie. Wait a minute, how many movies are there? There's supposed to be 5, 4. Or did they stop at 4?
If we're talking about this reboot series, retelling series, it's 4. Okay. After that, Anno has stated he is done with Evangelion.
Oh yeah, I saw the interview. It's like just cut the stock footage of.
Do you care? Do you still care about Evangelion? No. He was like, no, I'm done.
So he made a TV show and then remade the TV show with several movies?
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, God. Yes. Okay, so what happened? Yeah.
No. Stop, Raph. Don't overcomplicate it. Yes, Brayton.
Wow.
Yeah, I will just say this.
What the fuck did I tell you, Raph?
No, I'm not going to complicate it, but I'm just going to comment on the complications. The story of Evangelion is its own 3-hour audio commentary, so we're not going to do that tonight. I got tons of other things I want to talk about after Andres leaves. But yeah, it's holy crap. With that says though, the teaser trailers I saw for this last rebuild of Evangelion, they featured a lot of the characters just hanging around and fishing at rivers.
That's the first 30 minutes of the movie, and that's the time for Shinji to heal in a very peaceful, not destroyed part of the world, where he is given like that the time and space he needs to recuperate from the ending of the third movie.
Okay, that's very sweet of Will to do. The organization that's behind all the good guys. Now, with that says, I do have to ask, what is up with... They definitely made Gendo Ikari a more prominent villain than he's ever been before. Especially from the trailers I've seen where he suddenly grows a gigantic glowing Cyclops eyes. What's that about, if you don't mind?
He combined himself with the very last angel.
Okay, so was it an angel from the original series itself, or was it one of the new ones they made for the movies?
It was an angel, I believe. That was, what was it? It was an angel that was fought in the third movie, who I think was the same angel that they fought. No, yeah, I think it was a new angel. It was like this virus angel, I believe. I could be wrong though.
Oh, not the one from the TV show that possessed that prototype Evangelion body.
Not that one. I don't think so. Let me look into it.
All right.
Yeah, he did fuse himself with an angel so that he is literally unkillable.
And in the world of Evangelion, angels, these weird alien creatures, are distantly or closely related to humans, so I can see how the merging took place.
Oh, not just humans. All Earth life.
Holy crap, it's that bad. Okay. Those poor sea turtles, they didn't make it past the second movie. Oh my god. Damn you, Ano! Anyways... Okay, so, and with that says, since he does become half angel, he ends up becoming basically the final boss that Shinji has to battle. Now, do you think
and that's something that's honestly what I've always wanted out of the original story, and I was happy to get it here, of the son finally gained the chance to stand up to his mentally abusive father.
Yeah, figuratively and literally with giant cyborg angel robots.
Yes.
That's the funny thing with, Gendo Ikari has always been one of those anime villains who's been fairly untouchable. And he's committed some pretty disgusting and horrible things. Nowhere near as bad as other anime villains. It's compared to some of the horrific bullshit that Dio has committed, it's like Gendo Ikari is somewhat forgivable. But at the same time, he's one of those anime characters who's been so much of a jerk, it's amazing he has been punched at all. Even his original death in the original film trilogy, before this rebuild of series began, was very unsatisfactory. So, would you say the final battle between Shinji and Gendo was well worth it, or a highlight of the whole...
Oh. So, hold on here. Let's see.
Okay.
So I guess he did not combine himself with an angel, but rather some other plot device.
He put plot armor on.
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
So, sorry, what was your question?
How satisfying was the final battle between Gendo and Shinji?
Very satisfying. It started off as it started off. I thought it was definitely good. It was going to go the way of Kill la Kill or Gurren Lagann, where it's just a big over the top fight between good guy and bad guy. But of course, this is Evangelion. Things are never that fucking simple. So it goes beyond a simple good versus evil fist fight, and instead it transcends into a ultimate mind battle, where each character is given an opportunity to literally peer into each other's minds, explore where they came from, all the moments that led up to this very moment, and gives us a chance, a full uncensored look at Gendo's history and why he became the way he is.
Does it make you kind of not sympathize with the character, but at least see where he's coming from?
It makes you empathize with Gendo.
Yeah, because that was one of the things about Gendo I always found a little hard to swallow, that he loses his wife, but then again, he's basically just a Kari, the original.
Essentially,
Shinji.
He is Shinji who went down the wrong path.
Yeah.
That's the big takeaway from all of this. He is Shinji. Shinji is his dad.
Okay. So now, oh my god, we're gonna get off of Evangelion.
Kill Raph, I remind you of this.
Hold on.
No, I didn't send anything. I'm looking at pictures.
Of which character is it? If it's a blue-haired fellow with glasses,
how do you expect him to tell you?
I can tell you I'm flat-chested, so I don't see the resemblance.
Oh God, oh my God.
Brayton, just don't listen to anything he says.
Yeah, just sit there and look pretty and don't say a word. Oh God.
Well, are you gonna say anything, Ralph?
What? I was waiting for you guys just to change, the awkwardness. Clicky. Okay. So, all right, but now when the final movie gets released on DVD, do you think they're going to include it with any specialized extras, or you think it's just going to be a very basic bare bones release?
It really depends on how I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, so all of that really depends on what was done with the original 3 movies. Knowing that this is Evangelion, they're probably going to do a lot to make some super special ultra edition of the movie, and maybe some box set with all 4 movies, and maybe some super duper box set of the series and the original movie and the new movies, and they're going to overcharge the shit out of every single one of them. Yeah, because again, this is Japan. Nobody collects DVDs and Blu-rays,
right?
Except the hardcorest of hardcore fans.
Now,
even my student, she doesn't own Evangelion. She's a fan of Evangelion, but she doesn't own Evangelion. If she wants to see it, she'll go onto Amazon Prime Video.
Okay, so now is there any particular reason for the unpopular lack of
people just don't collect shit.
Okay,
that's not the Japanese culture of things. There are collectors, but they are the exception, never the norm.
Okay, then. All right. Okay. Now, the main reason I brought up the whole DVD situation is because there's a lot of fans who think they're going to be putting footage from the Godzilla versus Evangelion ride on the final DVD, but
that's just wishful thinking.
Yeah, and again, I shouldn't be listening to KAIJU Godzilla fans, because these are the same people who you tell them, hey, 500 hours of Ultraman is free on Tubi. Where's the Gyrus episodes? Oh my God. Shay Smither says, you and Brayton have a kind of Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon dynamic, I'd say, Raph.
I don't know who those people are.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Oh my God.
What?
You.
Oh, yeah, I am being a bit of an asshole tonight, am I?
Well, no, Andre said he doesn't know who either of those people are.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Now, like a hyena, we attack Andres, correct?
Turned my.
You're just as offended as the time I almost forgot. Oh God, David Bowie's name. So it's like
that was like a hate crime,
yeah.
But no. I have to remind myself sometimes that not everyone is 80 years old like me.
Yeah, that's okay. Oh, by the way, Shay Smither says, sorry guys, but I have to go to bed. The stream's been great. I'll try to catch what I missed tomorrow. Okay, yeah, there'll be plenty to catch throughout the night, Shay. But no, Shay Smithers is a cool guy. He's going to be coming on to the show sometime in the future. As you're saying, Brayton?
I said, there goes the audience.
Aw. Now we're down to 3 suckers. I wonder who they are. That's okay. The great thing about night owling is I'm a lot less cautious.
Conscience.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I killed that grasshopper ages ago, guys. But yeah, no, this is the reason I do this show is it's more calming. It's not as stressful as live stream of consciousness or the live watches. So I can afford not to have an audience, and you know, my fans will eventually watch it when they don't have anything better to do. So, which is all the time. Okay. So how much time do you have left, Andres?
That's what Seth Meyers says about his talk show. I can afford not to have an audience, and then somebody will.
Little less than 45 minutes.
Oh, okay then. With that says, have you been changing the subject? Have you been on top of Dynazenon?
Yeah, I've been following both it and Godzilla SP as this fan subbed episodes have been coming out. By the way, you can definitely tell a lot of Godzilla fans are not anime fans when people keep fucking asking, "Where can I see it?" It's like, wow, you really don't know about the anime community, don't you?
Yeah.
Which, to give context for those who are listening and might be one of these individuals, in which case I apologize. The fan community has a habit, the anime community has a habit of recording whatever the latest episodes are on television, provide fan-made subtitles, and upload them to the internet. And there are tons of sites you can look at to find these fan subs. All you gotta do is put in blank anime title, episode, whatever, fan sub, English sub, or like Godzilla SP episode 1 English sub, and you're bound to find it.
Yeah. What's funny was I was gonna wait for the 4th subbed episode of Dynazenon and then start like a temporary Google folder to kind of share subbed episodes, but I don't really need to worry about that, do I?
I don't think, unless you want to plan a show to friends who don't want to bother with those websites.
That's a good idea. I think I may end up doing that anyways. So
okay, but yeah, I've watched the first 3 episodes of each series so far. I just noticed that Godzilla SP has its 4th episode fan subbed, and I'll be taking a look at that soon.
Yeah.
So, but at this point, I've been caught up on the 3 fan subbed episodes of Dynazenon that are out so far.
Okay, good, because
By the way, currently right now you are overlapping the images together on the screen.
Oh, don't worry. It's
never mind. You're right. I see it. It's faded away.
You screwed up, Raph. You're a horrible. Oh, okay. It's better now. Okay, onwards. Thanks.
Shouldn't have been that way to begin with.
I don't care. I got tons of people ready to abuse me across the block. Oh, they're all asleep on the way home. Damn it. They sleepwalk back. So.
Anyways.
Okay, so about Dynazenon, I am enjoying it. But it's definitely not what I was expecting, because it feels like...
Really?
No, well, here's the thing. It's a lot more lighthearted, at least for now, than SS Gridman, because SS Gridman started out kind of atmospheric. This feels like Saved by the Bell guest starring the dinosaurs.
I disagree completely. I'd say this is this is exactly like Gridman, just more emphasis on character relations.
Okay, good, because that's one of the reasons I wanted to pick your brain about Dynazenon. I'm kind of sad we spent so much time talking about that damn Evangelion thing. I got distracted with my dog throughout the whole night. He just kept pissing everywhere. So, on my heart. Anyways, yeah, it's hard for me to describe this show, especially to people who... It feels more like a traditional mecha show, but there's kind of a strange, lighthearted feel to it, in the sense that, yeah, we have giant robots now. Well, I guess we're gonna have to train tomorrow. So, well, how would
it does kind of do come off like a bit of a workplace comedy?
Yeah.
If your 9-to-5 job was being a Power Rangers Megazord pilot.
Exactly. I love how the characters are just fairly nonchalant about the fact that, oh no, there's giant robots and monsters in our world now. Well, I guess that's our job. But yeah, the episode Dynazenon. Oh god, how do you describe the plot?
Again, it's essentially it's like half of the series is a slice of life, down to earth drama between these characters who are each dealing with their own sort of set of emotional turmoil, coming of age turmoils. You have one character who is coming to grips with the death of her sister, feeling an intense amount of guilt for a sibling she didn't think she'd have much love in the first place. You have a dude who should be in college or should be doing a hikikomori, a shut-in. You have a shut-in who's out of high school, not in college, has no future prospects, and is sort of like has this little has this sort of like girl who idolizes her, who he may be bringing her down the same path, slacker path that he's going down.
Mm-hmm. Supposedly
and you have
they're
this
cousins too, so let's hope.
No,
it doesn't
no, no.
get weird.
They say they're cousins just so that in public, just so that it doesn't look weird that an underage girl is hanging out with a legal adult. That is weird.
Yeah.
I am disturbed by that, and her design also makes me uncomfortable. So I am concerned where they're going with this.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
But it does look like she does look up to him as sort of like a older brother or like idol. She looks up to him the way like a Japanese kohai senpai relationship tends to work out.
Okay.
And then you got the main character in the middle who is kind of like trying to figure out his lot in life, trying to figuring out his responsibilities between his friends, his work, and his new role as a giant robot, as a Megazord pilot. And finally, you have this very like brash and rude, but at the same time very heartfelt and selfless brute of Galma, who's got his own things he's got his own shit to work out with, and you got a bunch of kaiju eugenicists who want to watch the world burn. Yeah, essentially
the fancy people in the white clothes.
Yes, and so you got a lot of interesting cast of characters this time around. I'd say the human characters, as much as I enjoyed the characters of Gridman, I'd say Dynazenon's cast is an improvement simply because there's more to work with these characters. Characters like Rika and Yuta. And Yuta's best friend.
I'm sorry. I thought you were about to go.
Let me finish. Damn it.
No, I need to make this joke. I thought you were gonna go down the path where it's like Rika thighs, Rika thighs, Rika on the thighs.
I was trying to say the cast of Gridman were fun and very entertaining, but at the same time there was not a whole lot going on with them. Not a whole lot of them had their own subplots to work out with beyond Yuta's amnesia, and of course that amnesia did not allow for Yuta to do much as a character.
Right.
So I'd say with this series, despite having a larger cast of characters, they ironically I've been impressed by how much they were able to do with each of these characters and give them their own sort of mini subplots to deal with from episode to episode.
Yeah, they do. They are way more developed than the characters of SS Gridman, because as much as I enjoyed the characters of SS Gridman, I'm not going to say the full SSSS.
Just say full S, like they do in Japan.
Okay. Like these characters definitely feel like the stories are a little more simplistic than SS Gridman, but because the characters are so well developed, they carry the episodes very well. And I do enjoy a lot of the interactions they have towards each other. And I really like the lead character, Galma. Yeah, he is a lot of fun. It's like he's like,
doesn't he?
Yeah, he's
Isn't it funny? Like, doesn't he kind of remind you a bit of like like Chewbacca if he was a human?
Yes,
just his big brutish oaf, but he's just kind of huggable inside.
I know, and it's funny too because he gets angry at somebody and demands an apology. Yeah. But it's like he's one of those great characters I wish I created. So, and recently they revealed who he's based on from the original series. Oh. And I was like, that's brilliant. Okay.
What's he based on?
You notice the mummy-like bandages he's wearing?
Yes.
He's either directly connected to or is based directly on the cyber mummy from the original series. The one who supposedly could control dragons back in ancient China.
Oh shit, that explains him in Gridman. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I love how this Gridman anime series, they take like the most obscure kaiju or guest characters and then turn them into actual anime style characters. It's like, but yeah, it's like when they said, oh, he's based on the mummy, and it's like I look at his design and his supposed backstory he mentions, and it's like, holy...
Yeah, because he like him along with the kaiju eugenicists all apparently lived 5,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know what pink-haired individuals lived 5,000 years ago, but then again, this is a world where everyone has all sorts of multicolored hair.
Plus anime, Andres.
Plus anime, yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it does make sense that he could be like some sort of Egyptian mummy figure from the past who's been reincarnated in the present.
Yeah, and also considering the big twist ending of the first SS Gridman series, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually is the cyber mummy from the original series itself. Although this is just his new version in another digital world. Although with that says, does this series take place in the same world as the first Gridman anime, or is this his own separate world?
It really depends, because we didn't get any inklings that Gridman, spoiler alert, took place in the digital world. That wasn't until like halfway through the series, I'd say, maybe like episode 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say we can't tell for sure yet.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. We're so early in the series, I really can't have a good opinion of the show. But I am enjoying it quite a bit, and the fight scenes are a lot of fun. I think they stepped up their animation quite a bit with this new series, because revisiting SS Gridman, the character animation is a little stiff, and the giant robot fights, as cool as they are, they do feel choppy, as in, oh yeah, we couldn't completely animate these characters with CG. Here, though, everything feels a lot more solid, a lot
fluid.
More fluid. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I really do love, like, it's funny, I've kind of grown out of love with combining robots and Zords. Simply calm down. Simply because, Brayton, you're here to witness my murder at the hands of Andres. He's
exterminate! Exterminate!
No! Not anything but that. Not the Dalek Andres.
Blaspheme! You shall not blaspheme
against
our Lord and Savior, Obari!
Oh, somebody new came in called Big O. Big O. God damn, I wish I caught...
Big O,
Da-da. Anyways, Big O says, God damn, I wish I caught this like 2 hours ago. Have a good night, guys. Hey, Big O, please, yeah, I'm sorry this is so late, but this is the way this one show goes. But if you hear this, by all means, please revisit it in the future, and next time we'll try to do a better job advertising this. Oh, so I wake up in the morning, it'll be like 44 views or something, but there's 4.
Big O was his name. Oh,
Big O, yeah. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying Dynazenon quite a bit, and the villains though, do you think they're fun? And I know the one with the glasses who seems so pleasant is going to turn out to be our true evil at the end of the series. Yeah.
I do like how casual they are for the most part.
Oh yeah, they want to destroy the world, but they don't really they don't think too much about it, do they?
Yeah. Also, it's kind of funny how how Yomugi had the chance to talk to their quote potential leader, and the only question is, "Hey, what's up with Gamma?" He didn't bother to ask, "Hey, why the fuck do you want to destroy humanity?"
Yeah, exactly. And there is some really funny bits going on in these series too. Like, I love how the red-haired kaiju eugenicist, that villain, it's like you think he died at the end of one episode, and while his 3 comrades just calmly walk away from his so-called demise.
Is it me, or does he kind of give off like Bleach energy vibes?
Yeah.
In terms, like, he feels like a character right out of Bleach with his insane amounts of bravado.
Well, I don't hate him completely, so I don't think he's completely close to Bleach.
I would say I do love that one character exchange at the beginning of episode 3, where it's like, "Oh, come on, I'll kick your ass." It's like, "Hey, dude, we don't have a kaiju, we don't stand a chance." And he was like, "Oh." Staring at this giant fucking robot.
Exactly. So, but no, I was before you started threatening me with Dalek style violence, I was gonna say I kind of grown out of a love with combining robots just because of how horrifically toyetic Power Rangers got. And Super Sentai in turn, and it just gets to the point where the Zords are no longer special. They become as generic to me as the monsters of the week Power Rangers do to most people.
I definitely understand there, and I do agree.
Yeah, but with that said, these are some really fun robots. Like this is like some season 1 Power Ranger nonsense. I especially love. Like, first off, it's based on like the coolest robot out of all of the original Gridman series, the Dynadragon. Even though it's Dynazenon, so there is Xenon in there. But it's like I love that. Yeah, we still get like multiple versions of Dynadragon, including the humanoid dragon-like creature. And I also
which gives off huge Thunder Megazord vibes.
Yes.
With the fact that the main quote unquote Megazord, the main mech itself, is simply a smaller mech wearing the other machines like armor.
Exactly. And also, I love how the machine seems to be sentient in its own right, and its opening where it gathers all the different pilots in the first episode is very reminiscent of the first episode of Bioman, where Bioman, the old Super Sentai series from '84, where the giant robot is sentient, and there's that great scene where he's gathering all the different heroes he's going to pilot, and it's just cool. Hence the reason we get the one guy, the unemployed character, just being randomly picked among everyone else. Although they'll probably explain why they've been picked in the first place. But yeah, I'm enjoying the series very much. But like I said, it's so early that it was hard for me just to kind of realize how to really describe it. So, more complicated and perhaps easier to describe, however, is Godzilla's Singular Point.
Oh wait, hold on. There is some like fan art I really want to share with you.
Okay.
Let's see. So I'm trying to find it on Facebook right now. If I can find it, I'll share it with you.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
All right. Well, one last question about Dynazenon before we end your time on the show with extermination and murder. What do you think of the monsters so far? Are they a little too cybernetic and colorful, or do you?
No. If anything, they remind me of those particular type of old school kaiju vinyl figures where they just spray paint the most gaudiest designs all over, colors all over them.
Okay, now I see it. Yeah, like at first I thought they were just going for a weird rainbow take on the cyber or the armored monsters from the original Gridman series. So the Mega Flamelar, the Mega. Whatever, I don't know the Japanese names as well as I knew the Superhuman Cyber Squad names. So like Armored Plexton or Armored Hawk and all that. So, but yeah, now that you mention it, they do come off like much more complicated versions of like those old garishly painted oh god, what's it? Bullmark toys and other similar.
Bullmark, yeah. I think Bullmark was the one I was thinking of the most.
Yeah, because Bullmark, it's like here's Hedera, he's pink for some reason. So.
And that's another thing. I do like that some of the monsters look like they're repurposed suits from Gridman.
Yeah, did you notice the monster in the second episode looks and acts a lot like Megalon from the original '73 movie?
Yeah, or Anti.
And yeah, that too. Oh my god. You think that's a deliberate choice? Because I know on Gridman, they recycled a lot of the monster costumes to such a point that, it's some of those monsters were recycled even worse than Power Ranger monsters. And it's like you had the one vacuum cleaner monster that was just barely held up because it was recycled so much from other costumes. That was just basically a sheet and the guy was holding it upwards. Do you think they deliberately chose that route with this series and its monsters?
Probably.
Okay.
Let's see. So this isn't the best quality version I could find. But this is the only way I can share it to you. I'll share it to you on Facebook.
Okay, let me open my Facebook. So how much time do you have left so we can get into Singular Point?
Very little. Probably about, I want to say 20 minutes.
Okay, then I'll let you go ahead and share your then let's go ahead and
first check out the fan art.
Okay, I will check out the fan art. I'm not going to post it because that's just going to take a lot of time.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, that's adorable.
Yes.
Yeah, it's our two lead characters basically. You describe it. I can't describe it without it coming out awkward because I'm damn Raph and Shoma.
It's the characters, what was her name? Yuma? Let's see. What was it? It was, Yume. Yomogi and Yume trying to form the soldier wing on their own by having one character stand on another character's shoulders, similar to how their mechs combine. Meanwhile, you have the toy version, miniature toy versions of their mechs looking up at them like, what the fuck are they doing?
That is cute. It's like, unfortunately, because of OBS and my inability to multitask, it's going to take me forever to put up. And I'd rather spend this last couple 20 minutes picking your brains on Godzilla Singular Point, aka the anime that's pissing off the Godzilla vs. Kong fans like no one's business. And that alone makes me respect this series to no end.
Yes.
Where's Godzilla? I want Godzilla!
Always.
It's like, okay, so we're 4 episodes in, 4 or 5 episodes in with Godzilla, 5 episodes in Godzilla Singular Point. And even though in the series is kind of light on Godzilla action, and
I don't care.
Yeah, and a lot of Godzilla fans have been unfairly calling the series Jurassic Park Singular Point. Well, that too, but
what's the problem? I don't see the problem there.
Yeah, it's even better than the actual Jurassic Park animated series.
Yeah,
and I gave that a free pass.
Actually trying to tell a story.
Yeah,
those things that typically happen in kaiju fights.
Yeah, it's been like, I enjoy fantastical kaiju bullshit, but at the same time, it's nice to have some real science in my science fiction. I haven't had that in ages. It's like, and it's very reminiscent of Godzilla vs. Biollante, where it is kaiju fiction, but they try to throw in some unique science fiction elements in there. Granted, though, this is even more extreme than Biollante ever was, because they have an actual physicist working on the storyline. And with that said, I really do hope that when this series ends up on Netflix in June, that we do have a dubbed version, because similar to Shin Godzilla, this is a series that definitely needs to be watched multiple times just to get some of the more out there ideas wrapped around your head. But yeah, no, I love the animation. It's very beautifully well done, especially the background and the character designs. I really like a lot of the weird but unique redesigns of the various monsters, as well as creating new characters from pre-existing monsters. Apparently Baragon and Gabra hooked up and got busy, giving rise to Salonga, or, what happened, whatever. That joke played a lot better on Facebook. And again, I do like the fact that they are throwing actual science fiction into it, but it's like, at the same time, it is an anime original series. So who knows if it's going to end satisfactory, or if it's going to be like another, well, we had 10 episodes of Phil and it was almost lunchtime and we decided to end everything on a twist ending. Bye! Like most anime producers do. See the production staff of the Big O. Oh, the Americans want us to explain it. It's like, they're all holograms. Bye! But what's your feelings towards Singular Point, since you'll be leaving pretty soon?
I personally have been loving it so far. I find the characters to be very intriguing. I like the slow burn, slow reveal of these monsters. I like them establishing the lore and the mythology behind this series. The music is great. Jaguar is wonderfully earnest and so like. You could tell he's not the best robot. He's far from the best robot, but he's trying his best. God damn it!
I love his crew too. It's like,
yes, they're great. They're a cast of misfits. I love that.
Yeah, but misfits.
The old man is
their little victories here and there.
Yes, they had their shit together, and the old man just steals the scene every moment he's on there. The only issue is that. I know this is why I was, not to throw shade at Matt Burkett for trying to cover all these episodes as they come out with 0 subtitles, going in raw, literally, as the anime fan community would prefer to unsubtitled Japanese episodes.
Also, we know how much Matt enjoys his sushi.
I understand why he's doing it. To capitalize on being one of the first people to get their videos out there, but I'm afraid that you need to understand what's going on. You need to pay attention. This is a series that requires you to pay attention to every detail, and so But the big issue is that the first episode alone, especially, which is, a lot of exposition thrown at you, they use the subtitles zoom by so quickly. It's difficult to keep up with the written subtitles. So this is a series that should be enjoyed dubbed more than subbed, I would say.
That's what I'm getting at, because the most recent episode that was subtitled, episode 4, they talk about a scientific principle about trying to judge the mass and significance of things with number equations. And it's not simple measurement either. It's like literally, the worth of a creature by its size or something. But it's like, in its subtitled form, it was really hard to stay on top of. And I think if it was done in a dubbed form, it would be much easier to understand. Because again, I'm happy that there's real science going into the science fiction of this series, but it's also kind of like hard to keep on top of. It's like a lot of those weird jokes from like Mystery Science from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Futurama, which are all based on real scientific concepts. They work better because we actually understand English. Whereas here, it's like, I'm happy to read the subtitles, but yeah, if there's a dubbed version, I think it will get people on board a lot better than it is now. And yeah, I can see why it's pissing off Godzilla fans, because it's a little too high-minded. Talky, yeah. And it's funny, too, because these are from the same fans who will defend Godzilla 2014 to the death. And yet it's like, guys, you just had a badass battle between a Quetzalcoatlus Rodan and a Jet Jaguar mecha. What? And you're pissed off that Godzilla's nowhere to be seen? But where's Godzilla? I don't know. It's
that's the thing. Like, there's also people who don't like Dynazenon because it's quote unquote too boring for them.
Are you serious?
Yes, there are people who are like, I can't get into it. It's too quiet. The characters aren't interesting. Everyone's all dumb and quiet, and I don't like it. It's all artsy, pretentious bullshit.
This from the series where whenever the giant robot forms, we have opera singing.
But then that's the thing. It's like, I like the giant robot stuff. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know. You can't.
It's like, I feel like they're both Singular Point, Gridman, and Dynazenon try to take things in a direction that's less so over the top, which I feel is an intentional decision to contrast wonderfully, I must say, with the fantastical elements that are introduced in later in those same episodes.
Yeah, and
so it's like that they serve a narrative. The quote unquote boring parts are meant, which I don't think are boring at all, mind you, are there to serve a purpose, to contrast, so that when monsters and robots do show up on screen, it feels like something massive. There's a massive shift taking place.
Yeah.
And I guess people don't want that. They just want Final War, Final Wars or GBK, where it's just constant action and adrenaline and just stuff happening it's so dense. Every single scene has just so many things going on.
Yeah. Why is Singular Point so boring?
Wait, hold on. You know what? That's right. I don't think Dangerville has made a single video on Singular Point.
Oh my god!
You fucking hacks!
But then again, he is British, and British people don't believe in Japan, so. I hate to tell you, but William, he's actually British. He's just very good at hiding his impressions.
That's fuck, man. The last fucking 15 videos I'm looking at are all from the last 4 weeks. All 15 videos are all fucking Monsterverse related. How can you call yourself a god? No, I'm looking back. It's like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. The 26th video is something other than Monsterverse, which is the story of the fucking Komodo-thrax from Godzilla the series.
Yeah, again, I think Dangerville just...
here we go. The last fucking video they made about fucking Singular Point was 2 months ago.
Here's the thing.
You're not a Godzilla fan if all you talk about is the damn fucking Monsterverse.
Dangerville is mostly a clickbait channel, so I think that's the reason they're only focusing on GVK at the moment. So, but yeah, no. Well, again, there is that sadistic side of me.
Again, I don't want to tell someone what they should or shouldn't do, but when you advertise yourself as a Godzilla channel, and you only talk about one fucking movie, I don't consider that being a Godzilla channel.
Mm-hmm. So, oh my goodness. But no, with that says though, not to get too much into spoilers. Well, with Singular Point, one of the things that have really been a strength for the series is I really love the human cast. It's like, and that's usually hard to say about anime, because with anime, like, the characters are usually so abrasive or maybe a little too out there that it's
that's what I like. That's what I like about again, Gridman, Dynazenon, and Singular Point. A lot of these characters feel very relatable. They're not doing that over the top cartoony shtick, and pretty much all these characters stay on model. They don't do the exaggerated facial expressions. They don't go all chibi style whenever they're super happy and whatnot.
Yeah, but no, they are generally likable. It's like, what is it?
Yes.
What it's like, there's a lot of anime series where you have like a group of misfits who are constantly being, for lack of a term, shat upon by the regular public for every little mistake they make. Yet here, the Jet Jaguar crew, they get there's some like good satire going on in the first episode where they think the media hates them for killing the one last pterodactyl on Earth, but then when the Rodan start showing up in mass, all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh, where's the robots? But at the same time, I love how their accomplishments are not completely ignored or brushed under the rug like a lot of Japanese satire and comedy, like Big Man Japan, or I hate to say, like series like Pat Labor, where the characters look at their bosses the wrong way and they get yelled at it for 48 episodes. Because there's a very sweet scene where the old man gets like a plaque for basically saving the town from the Rodans. But no, all the characters are just extremely likable. Even the villain characters, who may not be the villains, I'm like, there was, after seeing the subtitled episode of episode 4, there's a good there was kind of a bit of a creepy twist they threw in about the monsters. Do you want to spoil it or keep it?
No. I'll want to find out for myself.
Okay, it's a very subtle scene, but it suddenly puts everything into like a whole new context. But yeah, I thought it was like a brilliant little twist to the details of what's really going on. So it's like, these aren't, I'll just say this, these aren't your typical monsters. So, but, no, the characters are just all extremely likable, and then not just in their very appealing designs, but they're just very, very likable characters with other likable characters. And it's something you rarely see in anime. It's like, usually with a lot of anime, you have like a small group of lead characters who are very likable, who you want to hang out with, and then a bunch of like abrasive assholes or pure evil villains you can't stand. And so far, it's like almost every character works. And I love the monster designs. Like, I know you are a big fan of Anguirus, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you feel about them going? Well, here's the thing. It's like
I'm not going to be like, no, not to throw shade at Omniviewer, but I'm not going to be like, my proportions. No.
Wait, no. Let's be fair. He delivers like, well, you see, the proportions are bad. Look at my fedora.
I'm sorry. Okay, he makes good content.
Oh, he does. But yeah, he does. I love how
he just keeps hammering that point through. It's like, I don't care. I like these designs. I like how some of them may be looking goofy and awkward. I love, for instance, the anatomically more accurate take on Rodan. For years, I've always wanted to see Rodan in the style of an actual pterosaur. Why?
Yeah.
Because that's what he is, a fucking pterosaur.
Yeah,
and the only reason why he looks the way that he has done for all this time was due to the limitations of the special effects of those respective films.
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of Monsterverse, they were definitely, even though they could have made him looking more like an actual pterosaur, they decided to pay more homage to what came before.
Yeah.
Here, it's like, this is the perfect opportunity to make some radically new designs.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was all for. Heck, I was okay with Godzilla Earth because I was willing to see what they were going to do with that design, which they didn't do anything with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm very pleased with all the designs that we've seen so far. As for the weird thing that they're doing, where they have characters that are clearly Showa callbacks, but they're not. They're everything. They are callbacks in everything but name. It is definitely weird, and I'm just like, I remember my buddy Steve Winter Gaia mentioned that maybe it's that Toho doesn't want to deal with trademarks in terms of any other character that isn't from the Big Five. Like they named Rodan because he's part of the Big Five. They named Jet Jaguar because he's like the main hero character.
Yeah.
As for everything else, it's like maybe they just don't want to deal with all that trademark nonsense. I don't know. It's just a theory he put out, but it kind of makes sense to me.
Theory?
A G theory of all the
Why do I have a stick on my boy? Okay, sorry about that. I was a little crude on my end. So, I just declared war on Dangerville. You got sticks up your bums. Anyways, okay, here's a quick thing I want to say about Singular Point. Well, the great thing about the Godzilla franchise is there's so many different iterations of the characters and different continuities, yet it doesn't get bogged down like, say, DC Comics and its insane lore of characters, or even the James Bond being like just confusing on like how the timeline works and all that. And with that said, I think the great thing about the Godzilla franchise is you can play around with these characters and their different incarnations. Unfortunately, that doesn't really translate well with a lot of fans, even casual viewers. Like, I remember once I showed GMK to a group of friends, and they enjoyed the movie, but then afterwards they were asking me questions. Where's Jet Jaguar? Why is Godzilla pure evil all of a sudden?
Where's Godzuki?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, guys! It's so sad, too. You have to use Batman to explain everything. It's like, Michael Keaton Batman isn't the same as Nolan's Batman. Damn it. They're different continuities. But with that said, like, it is kind of sad how the Godzilla fan community has been against a lot of these designs and reimaginings. And yeah, your friend Winter Guy may be right about Toho not wanting to deal with like the weird copyrights of lesser monsters. But at the same time, I think it may just be a case of them just kind of flexing the creative muscles and just creating weird new characters by mission matching other ones. Because don't forget, like, there are 2 different types of Rodans, and I know that in no time they'll probably have official names like Rodan Quaddulus or Rodan Pterodon or something like that. And it is, although it is weird that apparently Godzilla was a Titanosaurus all along. It's like
it was me, Godzilla all along.
Mechagodzilla's like, oh my god, I've been surrounded by Godzillas this whole time. Oh my god. But yeah, it's like, I am intrigued to see what happens, but we are halfway into the series. There's only 5 episodes left. Now, either things start to ramp up quickly, or do you think they're going to do that thing like a lot of American drama shows do, or even anime, where it's like nothing really exciting happens until maybe the last episode?
Well, I don't know about you, but a lot of exciting shit has already happened.
Yeah, well, yeah, I enjoy. Here's the thing, though. I mentioned this to Matt Burkett, and he kind of agrees. The series is very reminiscent of Toho's apocalypse films or Great Cataclysm films, like Submersion of Japan, Prophecies of Nostradamus, Virus, where things start out casually, kind of like insignificantly. Like, it seems like the normal world is something dreadful is building up, and eventually it just all goes to hell in the 3rd act. Like, the world ends, or like mayhem all over the place. And I get the feeling that this is what Singular Point is, especially with the slight reveal they do in episode 4, which I'm not going to spoil. Where, yeah, it really does feel like this is an oncoming apocalypse. And I honestly do feel that a lot of our wonderful characters aren't going to make it past the halfway point.
Tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down.
It all comes. It's a beautiful song, even though when it's depressing as hell when you listen to the lyrics.
And when you constantly remembered of the fact that that song plays while everyone on Earth fucking dies.
Well, technically their bodies die. They're
tumbling down.
Andres, stop! I'm trying to explain things. Tumbling down. Oh my god. But yeah, like, I really do feel like the next 5 episodes, the kaiju size shit is going to hit the fan, and a lot of our characters are going to have to deal with it best they can. So, but yeah, I'm really enjoying the series, and it is so creatively fulfilling and intellectually unique to have a series like this, especially after 4 years of the Monsterverse and how I don't want to say dumb, because again that would undermine the good stuff that the Monsterverse has offered. But yeah, the Monsterverse has been like 60% dumb, 40% kind of smart. So, oh my god. So with that said, you'll be leaving pretty soon. Do you want to say any good final goodbyes?
Let's see. I will say that if you enjoy giant monsters and robots like as much as I do, maybe you might be interested in my comic book series Primal Warrior Draco Azul, issues 1 and 2 available on Amazon Kindle and Comixology, as well as my novel-length anthology series my novel-length anthology book Primal Warrior Draco Azul Full Metal Chronicles, which is a collection of 6 short stories, 5 of them Draco Azul related, and the last one being another mech story entirely. Also available on paperback and Kindle on Amazon. And also you can follow me on YouTube at Kaiju Noir, Instagram at Kaiju Noir, and follow the Primal Warrior Draco Azul Facebook page. So look forward to all of that, and especially my more elaborate thoughts on GVK in the near future, as well as at future episodes of my podcast series, Fully Endorsed.
Mm-hmm. One of them featuring a handsome devil, not only as Raph and Shoma. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Always.
If Brayton was here, he'd be like, no, you're not. You're horrible. Ah.
He is still here.
He's asleep.
Technically.
Yeah. Oh, wait. We can spend what few times you have just putting subliminal messages in his brain. So, be nicer to Raph.
No. Anyways, that's all for me tonight.
Okay, I'm glad I brought you in earlier than later because, I think I might have to call it quits pretty soon. But I am going to spend at least another half an hour talking about some miscellaneous giant monster stuff that I didn't get a chance to do so far. So,
all right, man.
Okay, but no,
you take care of yourself, dude.
All right, you too, and thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. So,
it was the same for me as well.
Okay, goodbye, buddy.
All right, peace.
Okay, so it's just me and you. Who's in the chat? All right, because Andres. Oh wait, Andres is asleep. Wait, no, Andres left. Brayton's asleep. Hey, Brayton. Hey there, buddy. Wake up, you Canadian fancy man, you. Okay, yeah, he's asleep. All right, so I'm going to spend at least for anybody watching this in the future, I'm going to spend another hour. Actually, I may cut it pretty soon, but there's a bunch of miscellaneous monster stuff I wanted to share. Let's see what we got going on in the image section. So, yeah, so I'm really enjoying Godzilla Singular Point. But it is definitely not a series to enjoy raw. I respect Matt Burkett because his enthusiasm for the series is extremely good. He really, really enjoys that. I can see why he wants to catch up on every episode. But yeah, the series works a lot better when you actually know what the hell is going on. And if you want to avoid spoilers right now, please fast forward 3 minutes because I'm going to reveal some details as well as my own personal theories of what's going on. So it looks like here's where the spoilers begin. Okay. Based on some of the creepy details and small twists that were revealed in the 4th episode, which was just recently subtitled, I don't think these monsters are big brutish animals who are invading from another world. I think these creatures are deliberately coming into this world as conquerors. Because these creatures work on the same level as the Shin Godzilla, in the sense that they can alter their own evolution on purpose. But unlike Shin Godzilla, they can do it purposely and deliberately and almost like slow-moving shape changers. And with that says, the monsters possess abilities and intelligence that we're not fully aware of right now. So my theory is that these creatures are invading from whatever world they come from, whether it be like an unfathomable ancient past or a distant future realm, or even an alternate universe. And Godzilla, or Godzilla Ultima, the skeleton himself, is the one in charge of everything that's going on. Maybe they had an ally in the form of the creepy old scientist who was studying these creatures. But yeah, the creepy detail that happened in episode 4 was nobody knows who activated that weird song the scientist created. Like, clearly that creepy scientist was responsible for creating a song that helped open the gateway between our world and the monster world, but nobody knows who turned it on to begin with. And the only culprit who may have done it, because it was the only thing close to the activation button, was Godzilla's skeleton itself. Meaning that the monster is far from dead. It's just slowly resurrecting, and it's somehow activated things on its own. And yeah, that's really creepy to think that this is a literal kaiju invasion. These giant monsters know exactly what they're doing, and everything they're doing is on purpose. It's a part of a much greater plan, and Godzilla is somehow the leader. Hence why they call him Godzilla Ultima. That mouse also ties into like the weird bit of dialogue in the teaser trailers saying that Anglius can see into the future and can sense time. So I think maybe Anguirus might be an ally that the humans may end up getting, or he may end up being a wild card. But yeah, these are not your ordinary big dumb animals. These creatures, they're the men with a plan. So, but we'll see what happens in the next 5 episodes, because it's funny, there has been a lot of really good stuff going on in the series. We've been getting a good mix of like mystery and investigation, but also adventure, character interactions, some lighthearted humor, but done subtly, and even some really cool scientific concepts. So there's a lot going on in the show. It's just, if you're expecting this to be a Monster of the Week Godzilla, sorry about that, I got a bit of hiccup. Godzilla versus insert monster name here, every episode, I'm sorry to disappoint you, and I think the series will be more greatly appreciated when we finally see it all in whole, and when we finally get a dubbed version of it, which I hope is sooner than later, because a dubbed version will make this way more digestible as a viewing experience than just, the subtitle version, especially the raw version. That's another thing about Singular Point. This was something I that's been there since the first episode and appeared again in episode 4 or 3, but I completely ignored it or didn't really pay attention. There is a weird Greek chorus of children voices, and their lines of dialogue are very weird and telling. Almost as if the story is being told from the past tense, and that the Greek chorus of children aren't human to begin with. In fact, during Matt Burkett's last live stream talking about the recently released episode 5 of Godzilla Singular Point, one of the commenters, I forget who, but he or she brought up a really interesting idea that the Greek chorus are in fact the kaiju themselves reminiscing on this story. And if everything is true with the hints that, yeah, these monsters are way more intelligent than we're giving credit for, that they are in an alien intelligence, just in a monstrous form we don't recognize as normal intelligence, then yeah, I think that might be the monsters themselves either looking back at the world they've just conquered, or maybe, this is my theory, that in the end the monsters find a way to become more human and find a way to survive in either this world or back in their own world. And that their invasion of this world was needed for their own survival, but it ultimately ends up for the best. That, or Godzilla ends up destroying the world, and a lot of these really cool characters we see suffer for it. But we'll see what happens. Like this I'm very intrigued where this series is gonna go. But yeah, this it's like I definitely needed this series. It's like Godzilla vs. Kong was okay. It was a nice little distraction, but this was definitely kind of the unique Godzilla experience. And by the way, for everyone who's been asking me a million times about, is this better than the Godzilla anime trilogy? Yes, it is, but it's going to either going to make you happy. It's either going to excite you or enthuse you, or annoy and upset you, or frustrate you for totally different reasons. Either or. I don't mind the anime trilogy on the Godzilla Planet of the Monster movies because, yeah, they are misfires. They are wasted opportunity. But it's interesting that they were trying to do something different with the Godzilla franchise. It's just, I think Singular Point is an improvement upon that on many regards, especially in the animation. The monsters all look great despite being done in CGI. And even like Anguirus, he's completely done in CGI, but he's so expressive. And he works out beautifully. But having the human as 2D characters is definitely what I think we've always wanted, both as anime fans and just as fans of animation in general. But yeah, I am so happy that Godzilla Singular Point is here, and I'm very, very eager to see what happens in the next 5 weeks. And I'm really, really, really hoping that not only does the series end well, but when it does come out on Netflix for all of America and most of the world to see, there will be a dubbed version, because I think that's probably a better way to enjoy the series than either through subtitles and especially through Raw. But yeah, I'm so happy we have like weird little things like this in here. So now, what else did I want to discuss recently? Oh, okay. So I was going to rewatch Godzilla vs. Kong before starting this live stream tonight, but I decided not to, largely because I wasn't really that enthusiastic to watch the movie, and I decided that I would kind of end the last hour of this live stream talking about something obscure and lesser known. So, hold on. I just gotta double check to make sure there's nobody in the comments section. If you're up this late, if you're up this early, great. So, hold on. Let me. Wow, Brayton is asleep. I'm going to definitely close up shop. I'll let him on. If he comes back later, that'll be good. So, hopefully, he'll be a lot less grumpy after his little nap. That's right, Brayton. I'm still making fun of you. And then he says, well, I'm still awake. Oh, crap! Brayton's here! Oh my god, not Brayton! Okay, so before I started the live stream, I watched an obscure monster movie from South Korea originally it was called Attack of the Flying Monsters, or simply The Flying Monsters. But now that it's been officially released here in the U.S., thanks to SRS Cinema. Hold on, I should get their name correct, because I'm terrible at that kind of information. SRS, yes, SRS Cinema LLC, or simply SRS. They've recently gotten into the obscure kaiju game by releasing a lot of lesser known titles, mostly independent, onto their DVD label, and I have been buying them directly from the website itself, because Ron Bunk, the guy who runs SRS Cinema, he's a pretty swell guy, even if the products he sells are like basically well-meaning crap. But it's so cool that all these obscure kaiju titles are getting these DVD releases now, and usually with fairly good-looking packaging. I actually enjoyed the 2 separate covers they did for War of the God Monsters. In fact, I'm showing my personal favorite of the 2, which feels more like, I think it's a recently created poster, but it definitely feels more true to what's going on in the movie itself, even if it kind of oversells things. But yeah, just before starting tonight's live stream, I ended up watching this movie, and I gotta say, it was a little weird. Okay, so we are not completely alien to the concept of really low budget monster movies with tons of stock footage thrown in. In fact, there's been Super Monster Gamera, there's been Godzilla's Revenge or All Monsters Attack, there's been the way more horrible, way more infamous Space Warriors 2000, and all the various Ultraman compilation movies that Space Warriors 2000s was butchered and strung together from. There's even the spin-off movie to the Carnosaur series known as Raptor, which just used a bunch of stock footage from the Carnosaur films that came before. So we're kind of, and of course all those different versions of all those different dinosaur movies made from the remaining stock footage of the original 1 million years BC. War of the God Monsters is very much in that same regard, but it's a little more special in its specialness, I'll just say bluntly. It's like, imagine if Ed Wood made a Japanese monster movie in 1980s Korea with a bunch of like high def Ultraman stock footage available, and you end up with this film. And so the plot is this: monsters, ancient prehistoric monsters are awakening. Technically, every creature you see in this movie is supposed to be a dinosaur, even the ones that look absolutely nothing like a dinosaur, including 2 Chinese dragons that are missing from the cover but are in the movie, and the weird starfish monster there at the bottom, who is known as Pet Star. But basically, these prehistoric monsters are awakening from hibernation off screen because, again, the footage isn't very well integrated with the main plot line. The main plot line dealing with a scientist and a widower scientist and his daughter, and a news reporter lady who kind of befriends them under less than ideal circumstances. And suddenly they get wrapped up in this almost apocalyptic monster attack. And I do mean apocalyptic because it seems by the end of the movie, the monsters have killed everybody but a handful of jet fighters, and of course our 3 lead heroes. And the monsters are just attacking everywhere. They're causing all sorts of mayhem, and they barely have any interaction with the human cast, despite their destructive antics affecting human cast indirectly. But there are a lot of monsters. Oh, God, it's ridiculous. So the story behind this, and I'm getting tired, so I'm doing my best to try to explain without my brain eating itself alive, is that this Korean company wanted to do their own giant monster movie, probably around the same time when giant monsters were suddenly a big thing again, thanks to Return of Godzilla and maybe to a lesser extent the King Kong Lives hype that came around the same time. And this Korean company asked E.G. Tobrai if they could borrow some stock footage, officially asked them to borrow some stock footage from their various Ultraman shows to help with their film. And that would probably explain why the Ultraman footage looks really gorgeous in this movie. Like as iffy as this movie is, I don't want to call it bad because I had a good enough experience watching it that I really can't say it's a terrible movie. But it is definitely an interesting experience to say the least. But it's like the print that Ron Bunk and his team at SRS Cinema got for this is beautiful looking. There's moments here where you almost mistaked it for a recent Blu-ray release than an obscure South Korean movie you haven't seen in years. And the footage within itself even looks better than what was in the original show itself. But here's the thing, Tubrai Productions was under the impression they were just going to use a handful of shots to make their monster movie look better, not whole-on sequences taken from various episodes of Ultraman, minus the Ultraman, and make a whole narrative out of it. And I think that's one of the reasons the movie has been so unavailable for many years. Quite frankly, I hope Ron Bunk and the rest of the SRS cinema team tries to go out and find other obscure monster movies to release, although there's 2 major problems with that. One, sometimes the copyright holders of these various movies don't have anything to do with a release. There was a sad situation where they purposely went out to go find Space Monster Wangamara, or something similar to that. Even more obscure South Korean monster movie that apparently is lost, but only because the copyright holders are holding on to it like greedy robber barons. Hold on, I'm going to take a drink. And they denied any chance to distribute the movie, which was a great tragedy for us obscure kaiju fans. Thankfully, they got a better situation with War of the God Monsters. Now, here's the second part why it's so hard to find obscure kaiju films and release them. Usually the prints or the condition they're in is god-awful. It's a miracle that recently Yeti Giant of the 20th Century had such a beautiful Blu-ray release, because they were able to do the work and find good prints and do some digital cleanup of them. Now, I know SRS Cinema is a much more independent company than Synapse Films is. And there's 3 people watching right now, so if you want to say hello in the comments, go ahead. I'll take some questions right now. They were able just to get a really good looking print of this movie. So for just like posterity's sakes, if you like giant monster movies, this is definitely a movie to get. Although right now you can only get it off their main website. I think it's about like $24, if not $19. Actually, let me check out their website right now. There is a sale for it. Usually this thing goes for $40, but it's going for like just a little under $25 here. I know if you order about like 50, you get free shipping and handling. But yeah, this was an interesting film. Again, I don't want to call it bad, but it definitely was iffy because, like, this starts off fairly boring. It's more of like a domestic dramedy with this widowed scientist who doesn't want to have anything to do with this news reporter lady. Yet she kind of grows a bond with the small daughter, and it's just mostly just like a bunch of like pointless scenes of just, you know, domestic bliss and domestic comedy going on. And then the monsters just occasionally show up here and there. In fact, one of the monsters technically isn't even real. The fire-breathing monster you see, it's actually just from a dream sequence from the little girl's imagination. But then when the monsters do fully attack, they almost come out of nowhere. And they attack in mass, and it's edited in such a way that we're supposed to believe all the monsters are together in the same area, attacking the same regions, even though there's clearly no connection. And some monsters appear and other ones just disappear, depending on how much footage they have. At one point, it's like the footage, almost all the footage is connected to either Ultraman or a lesser-known Tuburai-produced series, Fireman or Magma Man, as well as some scenes from an old Chinese film, Demon from the Sea, which 2 battling dragons in it. I wish I had some notes, but I think I may end up doing that with a separate podcast or review. But it's such a weird mishmash of the stock footage, monster attacks, and the human characters interacting with it. And there's like holy crap. It has to be seen to believe. Like, I don't recommend it, but if you have the opportunity to buy it or to rent it, definitely do so. It's just kind of a trippy experience. Yeah. I'm happy I have it, but at the same time, it's definitely a movie oddity, if you will. That's for sure. So yeah, that's my barely coherent review of War of the God Monsters. Now, SRS Cinema, their next big giant monster release. Well, actually, there is Monster Seafood Wars, which I'm going to be ordering a copy alongside their upcoming release of Zillafoot, which is an independent American-made giant monster movie. And I know that I've seen the original version of Zillafoot before they made an extended cut, and it's actually a pretty fun little movie in its own right. And I would like to see what the extended cut is going to entail. But since it's so late and there's barely anybody watching here, I think I'm going to... And plus, it's pretty much not that big news and barely anybody watches my channel to begin with, so I think I can afford to kind of spoil it. I actually contributed a segment or 2 to this extended cut. Whether or not they end up in the final version, I don't know yet. Ron Bunk is so far been... very honest with me, saying that if the footage doesn't fit, he's not going to be using it in the film. And if that's the case, then I'll just show the basic versions on my YouTube channel in the future. You know, it's like the deleted scenes that didn't make it into the film. But my segment is going to be a little on the... It's deliberately bizarre and humorous, and it basically has me talking to myself, literally and figuratively. Originally, I wanted to get my brother Miguel to come in and film the sequence with me, but because of the pandemic and because he's very strict about quarantine on his end, he completely said no to the idea. So I was forced to basically play the two characters in the segment. So yeah, if things go well, this will be, not only will Zillafoot be released with some contributions from my end, but there'll be an actual crossover between two of my most beloved characters. The Crimson Weirdo, he's on the left, in Crimson obviously, a failed wizard and horror movie host who is also one of the main villains of the Gamera versus Mystery Science Theater Round 2 fan film series that I'm very proud of, and of whom Brayton is the star and producer of. And on the right side, the gentleman with the gun is Detective Dirty McCruption, a comical character who's basically a cop so corrupt that he's basically a supervillain in his own right, and with a bit of a Cajun accent similar to Froghorn Leghorn. But yeah, it's a chance to play these two characters. Brayton of Brands Ant Films, who was up earlier, I should be less harsh to him. He's actually a pretty good guy when he's not being a dick. Vice versa on my end. He actually helped me edit this little piece together, although he decided to go uncredited simply because he don't have anything to do with this film. And a lot of my friends don't have anything to do with this film. But if things work out, I think my contributions will end up, and it'll be a nice little feather in my cap. And plus, it'll be like the second Giant Monster movie where I'm in the credits, too. The first being The Great Buddha's Arrival, which I was very fortunate to have a special thanks in. And I thank everyone else who put me in there. But we'll see how far the Zillafoot thing goes. I'll let you guys know in the future one way or another. But yeah, this is a little thing I wanted to share before the night's over. So let me see, what else do I have to share with you guys tonight. I think I'm going to cut it soon. I am getting tired, and we are at the... How long have we been going? Oh, hey, Stephen Walker. Hey there, buddy. I just got you. I just caught you right now. If you can hear me, just say hello again. But yeah, we've been up for the last... I'll text him just to say, hey there. Hey there. Yeah, so we have been going on for almost 2 hours. We started around 11:30. Well, 11:30, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Holy crap, so it's been almost 3 hours over here. But yeah, I think I'm going to end it because right now I'm losing steam. I'm getting tired. And yes, I can hear you. Hey, Steven. Hey, Steven, it's good to have you. Sorry, that's another one of these late night shows I usually do, where I should do these a little earlier just to see how things are going to go. Yeah, we've been going for almost 2 hours and 57 minutes, going on 58 minutes right now. But I'll be ending this show pretty soon in 10 minutes. But if you have any questions you want to ask Steven, go ahead. I'll do my best to try to give a coherent answer. But yeah, I'm starting to... get a little sleepy and tired from all this all by myself. I was very grateful to have Brayton on board. Brayton and Andres on board. So later, like if when this is done processing and it's available on my channel, by all means, go ahead and watch it on your own. And Steven says, that's fine, Raph. Okay. Steven, it's so good to have you around. It's good to have anybody around. Especially since I'm by myself in this terrifying void. So, but... let me go over the other images I had planned for the big kaiju show. Dynazenon, who is a well-known giant stone warrior monster from a trilogy of films made in 1966 by the same people who did the Gamera series. His 55th anniversary was just a few days ago. And I was a little late to join in, but I took like an old pair of convention inks I did of the character, one that unfortunately has not sold, and I decided to give it a quick color job to celebrate the fact. And this is the image in question. Usually it's a lot darker on screen, but I'm still looking at it on television and it looks a little brighter than it should be. But I was really happy with the way this one came out, even if my attempts to draw Dynazenon himself with the original inks is far from 100% accurate. It is such a really cool character. Also, the eyes were a little goofy originally, so I had to kind of alter those a bit. Wanted to share that with you guys. I am doing a lot of kaiju related artwork this coming month because I want to hit Kaijun coming up in June. And my plan is to do at least 30 illustrations that go up daily. Steven says, no, not got any questions at the moment. ATM. So, more than good, Steven. Like I said, I think I'm going to be calling it quits soon. So, but if you want to go back and revisit this episode, I have a very good conversation with Andres. Although the section with the event talking about the last of the Evangelion movies is kind of ruined a bit because I got distracted with my damn dog. From now on, I'm just gonna lock the dog in the other room. That may sound cruel, but you know he's a Chihuahua and he kind of deserves it. Okay. Oh, here's an alternative file of Dynazenon, which is a lot more lighter in color and shading. So it gives you a better idea of the detail in case you don't see it so well on your computer screen. It'll be coming. I just posted it right now. I'm seeing if it comes out. Yeah, there it is. It gives you more detail of what Dynazenon looks like. So I think I will get rid of that pretty soon. All right. What else do we have? Drunk Kong. I think that's it basically. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a night. I talked a lot about stuff tonight. It's gonna be a good show to revisit. My throat's incredibly dry, and I can't think straight. I'm gonna open a file though and see what the end music for tonight is going to be. So, usually I like to play this out with a song. Boo boo boo. Oh, there you are. Instrumental. Let's find something a little public domainy. Even if it's just a Japanese monster. Oh, okay. I don't know. Can I play that and not get in trouble? Shooting stars, instrumental. The horse. Dance with the devil. Well, that would be nice. Cozy Prowl. No, I want to play something a little copyright friendly. Copyrightish. Oh, okay. So I don't have a corresponding image, unfortunately, but there is this independently made British stop motion science fiction fantasy film that's been in production for a very long time called The Dark Earth. And it's directly inspired by like the kind of pulp era Victorian science fiction monster novels, but also the Doug McClure quadrilogy of monster movies. At the Earth's Core, People That Time Forgot, Land That Time Forgot, and Warlords of Atlantis. And if you visit, you can check out a lot of footage on the official YouTube channel and also on the official Facebook group that's connected to the Dark Earth. And it's really good-looking footage and gorgeous, and it's so mouth-watering of a film. Unfortunately, we don't know when it's ever going to be finished, and we've waited for a couple of years for it now. But the music I'm going to end the show on comes directly from one of the making of a creature suit, Birth of a Behemoth, which is one of the monsters in the series, and it's a really cool song. According to my friend Gail Lewis, it was actually from another album. I think the same people who did Tubular Bells did this song. But yeah, hold on, I'm gonna open it. Yeah, it's about 4 minutes and 50 seconds, but it's a really cool rocking tune. And unfortunately, because it came from a making of creature puppet video, they don't label what the name of the actual song is, so I just labeled it "A Mammoth Is Born" from the soundtrack of The Dark Earth. So, but you may recognize this song elsewhere. But I'm gonna end tonight on this song in particular. So, let me check the comment section one last time. Okay. Yeah. Steven, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Big O, Shay Smithers, Kerwell, and who else? Oh, Titan Goji. You're a great guy, Titan Goji. I haven't heard from you a lot lately. If I did anything to offend you, let me know. It's like, I'm sorry. I got excited. I saw Kamen Rider J on the official Toy YouTube channel. I was like, must have. Ah. So, but I know how much you hate that channel. But you're all great people. Like even Brayton and Andres. Like as much crap as I give Brayton, he's a great guy too. And I'm very grateful for all the friends I've have, and very grateful that things have done well for me and my family. But I'm sad that it hasn't gone well for a lot of you other people out there. A lot of you out there. A lot of you other people. That sounded so arrogant. But yeah, just I'm just very happy with a lot of good things that's happened in my life, and I'm just very happy that I have so many awesome fans, as well as family and friends who cherish and love me. And thank you very much for joining me on tonight's show. It didn't go as long as I wanted to, and I didn't cover all the monster subjects I wanted to, but for the most part, I'm really happy with the way this show goes. And I think I'm going to be doing I'll be doing a podcast related to Godzilla Singular Point when it ends in about 5 weeks from now. So yeah, I think that will be one of the big jobs. As far as upcoming projects go, don't know yet. Oh, the second episode of Inshoma Likes Giant Monsters. I will talk about that before I officially call it a night and play the closing out song. I kind of got stuck on it because there's a lot of details concerning the character I want to get from behind the scenes making of it. And I'm trying to find the right people. And thankfully, Keith Aiken of Sci-Fi Japan says he'd help me. But that video's taking a little longer than it is right now. So what I think I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to drop previews for future episodes from now on. And just do as many monster videos as possible. And I know the next one is going to be based around a really obscure series of kaiju. I'm not going to reveal what it is, but I think that's what I'm going to be doing next. So look forward to that. But that's something I'm definitely going to do before the month is over. Even if it's just a simple 2-minute video talking about like a very minor monster character, I do want to get back on that series. And I do want to keep them going more often. But I have a lot of plans, and I'm going to be doing a lot less posting on Facebook just to save time on it. So with that said, I'm going to close up a lot of my various windows here, and I'm going to close out the night with oh, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to close the Skype completely and totally, so nobody will be bothering us. And we're closing out the night with A Mammoth is Born, a song used in one of the making of videos for The Dark Earth, and one that may end up in the final video itself. It may have originated elsewhere. I'm Raph and Shoma. Thank you very much for joining us for the late night series, The KAIJU Show. And again, thank you for everything, you guys. I will talk with you in the near future.